Hello, everybody. We're doing a Skywatch tonight. Let's get ourselves live across the board, shall we? Make sure everything is running. There we go. It looks like it is. So yeah, if you're just joining us tonight, guys, we are doing a live UFO UAP Skywatch tonight. We're coming to you... Oh, bloody thing. We're coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, right in the heart of Crop Circle country, and just down the road from Stonehenge. So lots of weird and wonderful things in these skies. Hopefully it's going to remain clear tonight there. We did have the Big Dipper in shot. Where the hell's it gone now? I'll have to have a move around to see where that one is hiding. Paul is already in. Good to see you. Kate is in there. Zen too. How are you doing, guys? So, yeah, we're doing a live UFO UAP Skywatch tonight. Why is that one not coming through? Sorry, guys. I'm just checking in on something. Yeah, it's only giving us a small part of that screen. Okay, anyway, distracted. Right, we are doing... yeah, a live UFO UAP Skywatch. Carl is in, Kate is back in as well there. Freeman, how are you doing tonight? So yeah, help us tonight search for the weird and wonderful, the strange and anomalous in the night sky, live from Wiltshire here in the UK. Yes, it's wonderfully clear. We're already seeing some movement, but the moon again is quite bright tonight, so there's a bit of blue still in the sky there, so we're probably about a 7 out of 10 for clarity tonight. But it does not mean that we are going to miss anything there. We still plenty of visibility for those things in our atmosphere or low Earth orbit there. Rio, how are you doing? Good to see you. So yeah, that is what we're doing tonight. How is everyone doing? Are we all looking forward to the weekend? I know I am. Oh, we've got one tracked on the screen. Should we zoom in on that one? Let's have a look.
Zoom mode activated.
There we go. It seems to be a good tracking lock on that one. It probably will lose it later on there. I need to work on that this weekend, see if we can get over some of the bugs that we're seeing. But we need to see it do something strange. Something a man-made satellite just cannot do there. So stop dead, shoot off its speed, change its course, its trajectory, anything like that that tells us it is not one of the many, many man-made satellites that are over us right now. Oh, Susie is in as well, and thank you for the likes, guys. It is those likes and shares that helped us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves there. You never know who's going to come in and what the story experience they're going to share with the phenomena. AUP is in as well there. And Elsprit there, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from tonight? Dan, hello again. Good to see you. You caught us on our Skywatch. Well, no, it wasn't Skywatch earlier. It was doing our deep dive, was playing with the settings, so we kind of went out accidentally there. We will be rolling it out to YouTube, but first time with that setting on YouTube there, so we had a few bugs. And for some reason as well, guys, on the tubes, if you are joining us from on the tubes there, but in the vertical rather than the horizontal, it'd be worth finding the horizontal stream there on the page, because for some reason it is only giving us part of the sky for you there. So you're only getting part of the experience. Definitely worth going onto the, clicking through to our main page there and clicking on the main live, so you get to see everything going on in the night sky there. Zen is hungry. I've literally just rushed a dinner down, so for once I'm not, but that won't last long there. So yeah, look, we've got some movement on the screen now. When I pointed the camera earlier, we aligned everything. We was looking directly at the Big Dipper, and it was perfectly in shot. I was very excited, and it's gone wonky. I don't know where it's gone now. I don't know where that one is hiding tonight. So we are pointing directly up from our southern position here. We was trying to, because we're meant to be able to, because it's the Patreon thing, the deep dive, we wanted rolling over to the members as well, seeing what the dual stream is like there, but it went out on the main as the members as expected, but for some reason it also then did a vertical version, which obviously was just basically my face in large. So I need to figure out how and like why it's doing the dual thing like that. I need to figure that out. But yeah, we will roll them out, so no matter what platform you're on, you're going to get the same experience there as a supporter. Still work on the times. We're gonna get on top of it this weekend. It's bank holiday. I've got the time, he says. So yeah, if you're just joining us, we're doing a live UFO, a UAP Skywatch tonight. These are the skies live over Wiltshire here in the UK, right in the heart of Crop Circle country, just down the road from Stonehenge. Lots of strange and anomalous things in these skies over the years, and tonight will be no exception. So let us all work together on spotting those weird and wonderful things. There are lots of stars visible tonight, but again, it's a 7 out of 10 for clarity. We've still got the moon there that is kind of poisoning our night vision a little bit there. Normally it's nice and dark, the colours of the stars, would see a few more as well. But tomorrow we should start to see things go back to normal if we've got some clear skies for the Skywatch there. And to mean unstable connection there, TikTok. Lolas, thank you for the gifts, and thank you for feeding Alan.
Nom nom nom, thanks,
all goes
guys.
back into the stream. There as well. How are you doing there? And who's that though in there? And Sancure, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from tonight? And to see Laura S there coming in with the likes, guys. It is the likes and the shares that helps us reach more and more like-minded people like yourself. Maya is in over on the tubes as well. Good to see you. So yeah, it's a nice and clear night, but a little bit of that sunlight is the moonlight there reflecting and doing our night vision in just a touch. Shall we see if we can move the camera? I'm just going to move it a bit, see if we can find where the Big Dipper was hiding, because that was cool to have in shot. No, it's just a different set of stars that way. I wonder why the shade's so different. Still got some movement on the screen though. The skies are very, very active indeed, and as the night moves on, a little bit of that sunlight will go, so the clarity will improve ever so slightly for us there. But over the next few days, as the moon buggers off, we're going to have even clearer skies. Going to see some of those lovely colours and all of that in the sky. So do hang around for that. Make sure you're subscribed or following or whatever it is, wherever you are, and then you'll get those notifications hopefully when we go live there. Oh, getting that too. Has it while on Pete's live? Oh, really? Interesting. That's at least, yeah, at least it's not an us problem for once. What is it with these platforms? There, and great to see this there, watching from the Netherlands. Well, very much a welcome aboard there, San. It is good to have you in. Now, how are your skies tonight there? I know they're very, very beautiful, but have you seen anything strange? Would love to hear about that. If you have had an experience, guys, well, first of all, if you're new here, do say hello. And everybody, let us know where you're all watching from tonight there. But yeah, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you've had an experience, do tell us more there. How you doing, Laura Lass? Just getting to your messages now. There. And that space, Dodge guy there, how are you doing? Thank you for the follow. Do say, yeah, where you're joining us from tonight there. Oh, my light's going funny. It's all going wrong. Tox being its usual. Yes, it very much is. And how are you doing, that space guy there? Had an amazing deep dive. Thank you, Maya. There, it was a bit shorter one, but I really do like our deep dives there. It's a chance for us to really get into the documents related to the phenomena. They're the things that you hear people mentioning about, always referencing there, but actually reading them for ourselves. And I'm actually quite impressed with the one that we're reading at the minute, which is the Condign report there from the UK government into the phenomena. And it is not like your typical, I mean, it's quite dry and scientific, but it doesn't seem to really be biased. They are actually kind of going, look, you know, we can't say these things are not anomalous there. In fact, there's lots of anomalies, and the usual explanations are not necessarily making sense for it there. So I'm enjoying that one as well. And how you doing there? Oh, is it Nanya? How are you doing tonight? And there, Rio, good to see you. We're all good. We're all good. It's been a busy week, but we're hanging out with our friends now, and we're going to be seeing some amazing things in the sky tonight. And Space Guy there, doing great. I'm glad to hear it there. I have just seen someone from the Netherlands, because I'm from there yourself. Yes, so over, where was it? Was you? I think it's on this chat. I think it was San up there in the chat is also from the Netherlands. Surprising, we do get a few from the Netherlands way, which is pretty cool. Again, I think probably very interested in the phenomena as well. And He-Man, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us there? And Carl, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I do like our deep dives there. A chance just to really get into the nitty-gritty there with the phenomena itself. Lots of movement on screen. Can I catch this one? And Gaza is in. How are you doing? Let's do that one. Oh, my bloody menu's come up. Hold on, let me get rid of that. We don't want to be worrying about my menu. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Come on. There we go. Damn side of these computers. There. But yeah, lots of movement tonight, so keep your eyes on it there. We are looking for strange and anomalous movement. So lots of satellites, lots of man-made objects up there, and we're going to see a lot of those tonight. They're going to be reflecting the sun's light back, but they will all appear to be very straight courses and very consistent speeds. And if you pay attention, if you follow them every now and again, one of them will do something strange, something a satellite just can't do there, like stop dead, change its course, its trajectory, anything like that. None of your business. That's a good one, Kat. I don't think so, but It could well be there. But yeah, so we're looking for that strange and anomalous movement there. So the changes of course, trajectory and speed, they're the slam dunks. Satellites really cannot do that. So if we're seeing that, then we're seeing something very interesting. But anomalous flashing, coloration can be of interest as well. So keep your eyes peeled there. There's lots of movement up there, but the trick is keeping your eye on it there to follow it. Even if it has been straight and boring across the screen so far, you never know when it's going to make those changes. Essentially, we're asking for ET to realise he's left his keys at home and do an interstellar handbrake turn right over the camera. So again, we're making it quite hard for ourselves, but it's the only way that we can be sure that it's definitely not one of the many man-made satellites up there. And Space Dog there, UFOs, how interesting. I find it very interesting there, the possibility. And I think that is, there's two types of people in the world, isn't there? There's the people that religiously, dogmatically kind of stick to that, this is how it is, nobody has told me otherwise. And then there's the other people which are, but what if, and the possibility. Now, both sides of the argument can be wrong, both sides can be right. You know, I think any extreme can go either way there, but I think it's good to hold a little bit of mystery there, the possibilities for the world. Now, we just caught a massive flash up here.
Zoom mode activated.
Is it going to repeat? Yeah, there it is. We got a flasher. Now, that is, for it to be that bright, and then to go that dark is very interesting. So there, oh, it's changing a bit now. So it's probably to do with its angle there relative to the sun. So what you got to imagine is those objects that are moving across the sky there. Basically, as you see, as it rotates here, look, you're going to flash, you're going to catch the light, and then no light. Flash of light, no light. So it's not only is it moving, it's also rotating there. Now, if a satellite, a man-made satellite, is doing that to that degree, that's not just catching the solar panels on that perfect alignment in the orbit there relative to us. That thing is rotating. And if a modern man-made satellite is rotating, not many of them these days are designed to rotate. They're actually designed to point in one direction. Spy satellites point their lenses down to the ground, and excuse me. Yeah, they're pointing down to the ground. Communication satellites have their dishes pointing to the ground. So if it's rotating dramatically like that to cause that real big flash versus nothing, then it's probably broken, is the thing there. Or maybe it's something a little bit stranger.
Zoom mode activated.
This is a big bright one. See how consistent this one is. Consistent speed and brightness there. That's what we'd expect to see, catching that sun's light back. So even though it's dark for us here on the surface, we're still, you know, there it's higher up, so it's still able to reflect that light back to us. But that other one we just saw with the flash there, so it's either a satellite that's broken, or maybe it's something a little bit stranger. Hard for us to tell from down here. None there. Oh, it stands to reason that maybe at least one human in history has had a glimpse of another being from another world, and plenty of historical references, whether true or not. I think it's plausible, isn't it? That is the thing, you know, look how wide the universe is, look how diverse life is here, and all of the indications that we've got so far is that life is probably very abundant. So then it's just a numbers game, isn't it, for if they have visited. So I totally agree with that, Anya. And I think, because I think they've been here, but not like we think. I would really go with that, you know, because remember, our interpretation as humans is based on our knowledge, our experiences, our cultures at the time. It is unlikely that any interpretation that we can make, any assessment of the situation is going to be 100% accurate. You know, our modern interpretations, little green men from, you know, distant stars, different planets there in metal spaceships, all that sort of stuff there. But the same phenomena, lights in the sky, little people taking people away, was described, you know, throughout history in the fairies and the fae, you know, folklore, but even religious texts talk of a very similar phenomena. Then back to Egyptian times, I say, it could well be. It could even be even longer. Some cave paintings do appear to be describing what we would describing, or, you know, drawing what we call the greys. So it could be longer, but definitely I think there's been something going on there. But they have sent unmanned probes to observe and evade detection, which is exactly what we would do if we had the technology there. And biological life, I don't think, can survive the speeds needed to go on. And that is one of the points, isn't it? Not without serious space tech, but that is the thing. You know, life, I mean, mainstream science now does think life is going to be abundant out there, but can it reach us? Well, by our modern technology, no. But we do know that a warp drive is theoretically possible. It doesn't break physics. You just need a hell of a lot of energy. Oh, sorry guys, technical thing. Let me just reload the camera. There we go. Yeah, so it is possible without breaking physics, and when we actually analyse it to see, does this thing look like it's using a warp drive? Are there the certain traits that we would expect to see, gravitational lensing and whatnot? It does look like they could be using it. And that could be a reason, well, because by our current technological standards, there's so many things in the way. Could we survive the radiation, let alone the time and the speeds involved, and sort of things like that? Where's my cursor? There it is. So it's a very, very good point with that one. And, oh wow, there's some interesting ones there. You guys ever play Kerbal? Actually, none yet. We do. So when we get on cloudy nights and we do an alien radio signal hunt there, so we've got our own dish, we point it up to the sky, listen on the hydrogen line, which is where scientists think if ET's going to leave a message, that's where it's going to be, and it's where those anomalous signals like the WOW signal have been heard before. But once we've done a few of them in a row, I get a bit bored, so we sometimes do an alien-themed game. So we've been doing Kerbal. I haven't done it in a while. We've had good luck with the skies recently, but yeah, we do at some point there. And fast movement, good spotting there, Maya. And that game is a wonderful tool to learn about. So it really is. It does teach you, doesn't it, about orbits and things like that, which you don't really consider normally. They're over to the TikTok chat. I'm bouncing across a few chats tonight, so you'll have to bear with us as I get to your comments tonight. I do want to hear from you all, so do say hello. Let us know what you're thinking there. Got any questions about what we're doing, about space? Maybe it's something you've heard. Ask away. There's no silly questions here. But also just say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And Thomas, did you hear that Area 51 had 17 earthquakes? I did actually today. There is something strange going on. They do a lot of underground testing and stuff, so maybe it's something related to that around there, or maybe it's something a little bit stranger related to what we're more interested in there as well. It's still, or is it still? What? Stop still. Beard as well there, how are you doing tonight? And do you think that alien life forms on other planets could translate radio signals from Earth there? The WOW signal always feels like a missed opportunity. Beard, I think you're raising a very, very interesting point there. But the first part of it is detecting the signal. That's the bit that I'm mostly focused on at the minute. The idea that we could detect, that we get and confirm that we are getting a technological signal not from this Earth is very, very exciting. But what would the message say, and vice versa? Now, the reason we hear voices and music in our radios, we encode that data through modulation there, but that is how we use an organic phenomena. Radio is organic, nature is noisy in radio, but we make it technological there to encode those messages within it. Now, could we, if we got that signal from Alpha Centauri there coming in, would we be able to decode it? Would we be able to pick up the voice that's we're in it, if it is a voice, or is it digital data there? Would we be able to do it? That's the next step, and that could be incredibly difficult, and the same goes for them deciphering our messages. But it is easy enough to decide or to know if a signal is technological in nature there. So it's easy enough to, but identify the technological from the organic signals. But what it says is another question there. And the WOW signal, missed opportunity, exactly. It was recorded, as in they recorded that there was a signal, that it was this strong and it was on this frequency from this part of the sky, but the technology from that radio telescope couldn't actually record the message, and if there was a message encoded within it, we missed out on that one. Oh, we got some more bigger bright ones on the screen. The skies are alive tonight there. Now remember, we need to see them do something strange, like stop dead, change course or trajectory or speed. Something like that tells us that actually it's not one of the many man-made satellites up there. Now that one is incredibly bright compared to the others. Maybe that's a clue, but it is not conclusive. So we've got to keep our eyes on those there, to looking out for that real eureka, the slam dunk, that it is something a little bit stranger indeed. You saw that, Rio. Good spotting there. And He-Man, is this a telescope or a camera? So it's a camera, and the trick is in the lens. Long HDMI lead running into this room now. Same flash in D2. Rio, oh, good spotting there. And Paul, how are you doing there? And Zitja there. I think satellites are BS. Well, interesting one. There are sort of groups of people, aren't there, out there that believe in a very different explanation for what we're seeing in the night sky. So I don't lean that way myself, but I'm open to the ideas with it all there. There's got to be something up there, because I can detect signals from it. We can hear when those satellites come over. So there's definitely something. Now, some people just say, is it just balloons that are, they're flying around up there? We know that pre-satellite technology, they did experiment with balloons very, very high up there. So definitely open to it all as a possibility. I'm not sold yet, but this is the thing. You never know. It's always worth listening to the other arguments, because even if you don't buy the whole thing, maybe there is a piece of the puzzle that is missing, or you never know, maybe it makes more sense to you there. And Paul, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate that. All the gifts, the subs, Patreon, super super chats and all that crap now does go back into the stream, helping us improve what we do. Oslo is in there. Something is going on in Huntsville. Oh, what sort of thing there? What are the indicators that we're seeing in Huntsville there? Thank you for that. And Ajax, can someone in the UK take me a photo of the moon and send it to you, please? I would, X, if it wasn't behind the trees. And there is no way satellites are 340 miles up in the sky. So, I mean, by the mainstream explanation, if we believe it, you know, they're above the atmosphere. They're falling to Earth in a big circle. They're quite far up, aren't they? Then some of those ranges are quite far out. But the orbital mechanics, as they call it, I mean, technically the moon is a satellite. You know, it's not a man-made satellite. We think it's a natural satellite, although there are questions around that. But, you know, everything is in motion up there. Everything is falling to Earth sideways in a big circle. But because there's no friction, it doesn't pull it down. But they do get closer on every orbit. And about once a month, they'll use their thrusters to push it back up, by the mainstream explanation there. Oops, you're back there. Hub's takeaway just turned up there, Kate. Well, I hope you got your yarn out of it. And a lot of objects going up, about 5 or so far. It's busy tonight, Carl, so keep your eyes on those ones. That's the 4th one up on the left, following the same track. You'll get to see some of the orbits and stuff there. Where are we? Oh, it's 340 miles is the distance of how high the satellites go up. So there's quite a range. You know, you've got low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, and, like, you know, is it high Earth orbit, the top one there? But then you've got some really weird ones, orbits there. You've got eccentric orbits, all sorts of stuff going on there. But the low Earth orbits are for the Starlink and things like that. Closer to the ground there, lower latency, the speed between the two there. Higher altitude ones there for weather monitoring. They want a high enough picture there. They want to see all of the clouds and stuff like that. But you can have some really weird ones. The James Webb satellite is the telescope is a satellite there, but it's in what's called a Lagrange point there. So it's technically not in an orbit. That is in one of the very few places where things can sit pretty still there. It's the gravitational influence of large bodies, so in that case it's the moon and Earth there. It kind of cancels each other out there, so it sits still. But everything else is falling to Earth in a big circle, which sometimes it takes them a long time there. Even from Mansfield, Paul, good to see you there. And Rachel, good evening. I am absolutely fuming there. Whitley Strieber believes J.D. Vance's theory that aliens are dreamers. Really? I thought Whitley was coming around to the idea that they're more friendlier there. And it says, you tell me you'd be able to see something that's more in the sky at that distance. So you raise a very good point. But this is part of what we're noticing here. So if it's to be correct, right, what we're seeing now, this light and these objects here, that isn't necessarily like a direct representation of the size here. So let's zoom in on some of these, because you're actually on the money there, Jay. There's some very good questions. So, right. See your thing, that is not actually that size relative to us there. What's happening is the light is reflected to us in the same way that if you've got, you know, a car with those beams, big headlights, think of how big the actual bulb is in the headlights. Normally like the size of my thumb or something like that, isn't it? But for you, traveling in the opposite direction, that big bright light is massive. And the same is true of the lights that we're seeing in the sky there. The more reflective they are, you know, the more light that is going to be shone back to us there. Now, again, distance is a relative to that, because an object closer is going to appear larger, more light is going to reflect back to us here. But you're right in the sense that that isn't quite the same. And sometimes when people they have a telescope on something like the moon, they'll see a satellite go past, and at that sort of zoomed in by a proper telescope there, however many millimeter zoom that is, you can see the structure of the satellites there. But you're right, the alignment is a bit different there. Now, where are we? Ooh. Where's my cursor gone? Across the chat. So guys, if you're just joining us, we're doing a live UFO, a UAP, a Skywatch tonight. We're coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country, just down the road from Stonehenge. So do help us spot the weird and wonderful in the night sky. So this is live. There, do say hello where you're joining us from. I'm across 2 chats, so I'm just catching up on the TikTok, and then I'll bounce back over to the tubes. See what we got to there. M to the C is in. And Raf, the tube screen needs to be flipped. What's wrong with the tube screen? Hold on. Oh, are you on the vertical? Hold on. Are you on the vertical or the horizontal one there? Need to have a look down here, because I know we've got some issues with the vertical one. YouTube's doing something funny. And Beard there, do you keep a top 10 of the unidentified objects that you track? So we do have them. They're quite far down now on the page, because TikTok is auto-posting just random clips now, which I can't turn off. But below them ones are the clips that we've put up there of cool things like shooting stars, satellites, but also the anomalous ones. So it's worth scrolling through on our main page there. Pip as well, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from tonight there? And Apple there, have you ever seen Santa? Christmas Eve, we do a special Santa tracking live stream there. So we track him around the globe there. Starlink satellites reflect the sunlight, and after sunset or before sunrise, they are still lit by the sun. So yes, very true. It is basically the sun has gone round for us here on the surface, but if you're off of the ground, you've still got a direct line of sight with the sun, and it can bounce that light back. And we'll see it later on in the night as the sun goes further around. Depending on what altitude they're at, you'll see them just kind of drift out, and that is the Earth's shadow coming around and them drifting into that. Now, satellites don't emit their own light, they just reflect the sunlight. They've not got headlights on them. So anything up there, be it a man-made satellite or be it ET flying from A to B, is probably going to look very similar to us. We're going to reflect that light back to us. The only way that we can be sure that what we're seeing isn't a man-made satellite, because there's a lot of them up there, is by their movement and their behaviour, stopping dead, shooting off at speed, and all of that sort of stuff there. So it's just been in a pretty bad mood there today. Oh, sorry there. And one, oh god, Kate told me he has an alien son. Wait, oh, what? Streber, that one. Oh, well, sorry, he's not in a good mood there, but hopefully things will pick up. It's always darkest before the dawn there. And Neil, thank you for the heart. And off them like a mirror, they do bounce off them there. Oh, want to see it there by the... Oh. And I think a Tesla satellite explanation there should warrant a post on Reddit. Ooh, yeah. Go for it. You know, I haven't checked out Reddit in a very, very long time. Right, now let me catch up over on the tube, see where we are, guys. Let's have a look. Now we got to there, didn't we? Let's have a look. Oh, and it looks... I took the Kai Fighter and messed with some heat stats there and got it nearly to the center of their sun. I mean, I do like a bit of Kerbal. We when we play Kerbal, we put our OGs as the Kerbals. We rename the Kerbals, and we've lost a few, sadly, to say there. Your best achievement was a 5-asteroid spaceship that could steer quite well. Excellent. I mean, no, yeah, we've lost a few crewmen there. B2 and C2. Oh. Sorry, I'm a bit later there, Maya, but keep it up there. KSP doesn't like you connecting asteroids together, I bet there. Gaza, Starlink, there's going to be a lot of Starlink up there, Gaza. I think out of, say, the 15,000, 10,000 are Starlink. They are the most prolific by far. So statistically, they're going to be a lot, and they prefer them in lower orbits. Not strictly, but there are a lot more of them in lower orbits. Then closer, brighter, easier for us to see. So we're going to see a lot of those there. And Iran bought a satellite from one of the commies there. On how long it'll last. And at least 15 objects have gone from A2 there to E3 to C1. Good spotting there. So we're going to zoom in on the ones that we see acting anomalously. Right, I'm going to spin the camera around. Keep up the good spotting, guys. The skies are alive, but I've got to move it because that cloud is annoying me. There's a few wisps, but we are due for clear skies if we hold out there. Now, this is probably, again, I think it's actually about a 6 out of 10 for clarity, but the moon's going to sod off over the next few days. That's not helped at all with the cloud. So it is going to get better there next few sky watches that we have there. And what's pulling everything to the left like that? So it's a telescope. So it's actually a digital camera, essentially. Good lens on it, pointing up to the night sky. That way, we can see the widest field of view, because telescopes are quite zoomed in into a small area, but we want to see a big area because we never know where the activity is going to be. But what we're seeing a lot of there are going to be those man-made satellites that are in various orbits. There, so they're falling to Earth in a big circle. Every little orbit they get a little bit lower there, and they have to push themselves back up. And we're on the lookout for the strange ones. The ones, you'll get the feel for it. We'll see all of that movement and you'll get a feel. They all look very, very similar. Now, technically, ET, travelling from A to B, straight line is going to be how they're working. It's the most efficient path there, and it's going to reflect that sun's light back and look very, very similar. We're looking for those rare occasions where ET hesitates, realises he's left the gas on, does an interstellar handbrake turn before turning back there, right over the camera. So it's a lot rarer, but when we see that, they're slam dunk. Satellites cannot do that sort of thing there. But also flashing size anomalies as well can be interesting there. speeding up, slowing down, anything like that there. Oh, you need bed man. No worries there. Thanks for joining us. And Shane, hope you're good there. Good to see you there. And Anya there. I used to strap them to the front of the rockets. We've had a few chairs on the outside of them there. Where are we in the gifts? Adam there as well, and Carl and Brad, thank you for feeding Alan.
Nom nom nom, thanks guys.
Appreciate that. All the gift subs, patrons, all that sort of stuff does go back into the stream. But if you are just joining us tonight, we're doing a live UFO, UAP, a Skywatch. These are the skies and some clouds coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, right in the heart of crop circle country and just down the road from Stonehenge. So do help us spot the weird and wonderful, the strange and anomalous. In fact, let's zoom in on this one because it's big, it's bright, it's fast.
Zoom mode activated.
So there we go. Let's zoom in on this bad boy. Now this one, as far as we can tell there, it is just acting as expected there as a man-made satellite, following that straight projected path and course and trajectory there. Not doing anything strange, but as I zoom out, keep your eyes on it whilst it is on screen there, because it just takes that last minute hesitation there to prove that it is in fact something a lot stranger. I'll get there eventually. You don't know where to look there, Susie. Whitley Strieber has an alien son yet to believe. Shady Velzy theory. Just don't understand the world. I mean, the world is very, very strange, and there is just so much variation and stuff, isn't there? I can definitely relate to not understanding the world there. And I don't. Hey, it's me watching, and not to the boyfriend who was watching last night. Hey. I mean, there's two phones. You can both join us. But good to see you there, Adele, there. Can you shout out and say hello to Dan, as he is the one listening tonight there. Hello, Dan. So good to have you in last night. Thank you for your support. Hopefully you can join us tonight. I'm a bit raspy tonight. Busy day, as I always keep swearing about there. So hopefully I'll get back on form as the night moves on there. 10,345 Starlink satellites currently in Earth orbit. They lose quite a few, which is surprising. Thank you for the heads up there. The Fax Agent X. You're like the equivalent of Susie Dent on Countdown there, coming to the dictionary corner there, giving us the information there. And Brad, thank you for the gifts. So appreciate that there. How you doing? Just getting to your messages there as well. And Raf there, YouTube, the vertical needs to be flipped horizontal. So Raf, there's two at the second. So YouTube does this thing where it's taking our one horizontal stream and it is just giving... actually, let me double check that I'm doing that, and it isn't actually just broken. So it is meant to be, it takes a vertical version from that. But so basically you might have clicked on just the YouTube. Let me have a look. Now, they don't actually give me direct controls over that. I literally can just send it to it, and it picks if it's going to do the right one. Yeah, so I think what's happening, Raf, you might have clicked on the wrong one. It might be that on the vertical, because yeah, technically there's two streams going out on YouTube at the minute, the horizontal and the vertical. But thanks you for the heads up. So I think I can see the horizontal. So that is a reminder, though, tubers, if you are on the vertical, you want to go see the horizontal. You want to see the right one there. It's much better. I don't know why YouTube is doing that and not pointing you to the correct stream. Thank you for the heads up. And Brad there, sorry you missed yesterday. No worries, Brad. Was you up to anything fun? God, where's my voice going today there? I believe Whitley about as much as a Donald Trump there. There. Thank you, Raf. I do appreciate it checking in there, because honestly, the technical issues, there's always something going on. Oh, that's a bright one. It's not quite flashing, but it is getting brighter there, coming through the middle of the screen there. And Adele has never had a shout out, and he loved that. Well, Dan, you can have another one there. Always welcome there. Charging his phone to watch. I'm only joking. You don't have to, guys. You don't have to. We'll get you like one of those Chinese bot farms, right? Like, you'll have 10 devices in front of you across all the platforms going away. Putting you to work there, thanks. I was on the wrong one. So talk about, was it a bit complex? I know, Raf, I'm with you on that one. I am 100% with you. I haven't figured out how to turn it off yet. Technically, though, we are sending a vertical one that YouTube should be picking up, which is correctly laid out, but it's not picking it up. There, and Dennis as well there, thank you for the shares, guys. It is those likes and those shares that does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves there. And again, the more eyes and minds on the old phenomena, the better. You never know who's going to come in or what they're going to share with the phenomena, helping us all piece this puzzle together there. And paperwork for work there, it felt like a Friday yesterday. Then I remembered I thought it was Friday yesterday as well. Off paperwork is not so fun there. Being alive for a bit. Yeah, paperwork. I was having a sulk to Leanne today about paperwork. I was deep into admin today. I was like a child trying to do homework. I had a proper sulk for it. And Leanne there, thank you for the gifts. Right, let's pop back over to the tube chat. Let's see where we got to. There, Liberty, how are you doing there? I caught some strange stuff with the objects changing direction. Oh, very interesting. Now, that is my favourite one there, because there is no technology that we have by far, not even incrementally, but by far, that can change that direction at those heights. So if it's lower down, then it could be a drone, but I mean, like, for example, how zoomed in we are, and I assume you've probably got a good idea what you're looking at there. If they're up that high, satellites just can't do that, nor can, the spacecraft that we have as well. So when you're seeing that sort of behaviour change, that is very, very interesting there. I'd love to see it. If you post it or if you want to send it to us, remember, we've got our Discord, guys, the link in the bio there. Your personal experiences had its own section, really cool to read through. You're welcome to add to them there, or just read through it all there. And Jim Bob there, what camera do we use there? We use the world's most battered Sony A7. The trick is the lens, though. I never know what the actual lens spec is because it's a lot of numbers there, but that is the trick. It is the lens there. It's okay now. Thank you there, Raf. Thank you for checking in. I have no idea. I do monitor the stream output, but half the time I see something totally different to you guys there. And where are we? And to think the ghosties keep messing with your electrics while you're trying to work. Oh my god, it's something's going wrong, isn't it? There's always something. And TB there, the moon was nice and red about an hour ago, though. I was out having a walk around the local lake. I missed it. This time of year is perfectly behind some damn trees. So we get the light, which affects our night vision, but we don't get the beauty of being able to do a moon stream. Why is that one doing that weird? There we go. So, yeah, it's a bit of a damned if we do, damned if we don't with the moon at the minute. But over the next couple of days, the moon is going to start to, kind of get out of our way. And therefore, we're going to see much darker skies there. Oh, we've frozen again. Oh, we've frozen across everything. Are we good? Are we back? I think we're back. Oh, wait, no, we're not back on the top, shall we? Are we? There. Sorry, red light's coming everywhere. That was a local internet issue. Normally have one per night, so now we're... Oh, that's a nice bright one. Look, it's kind of flashing. Come on, can I get to it? Can I get to it? Come on. Oh, last week, trying to track something, and then it clicks off. There we go. We totally missed that one, guys. Sorry about that one. It's going to be one of them days, isn't it, there? And... where are we? And it's 10 more minutes as it's my crap week. Oh, Raf, feeling you there. Well, hopefully it'll be worth it. Hopefully we're going to see something pretty interesting there. You got an awesome shot of the moon. Very, very jealous. It's behind those trees for us now. Mark, thank you for the gifts. Leanne as well there. Appreciate that. All goes back into the stream for us there. Now, Vaz there. How are we? It's one of them weeks. But... we're in a happy place. We're looking for the weird and wonderful, hanging out with all of you guys there. Another SpaceX, quite possibly. Lots of them up there. And in fact, statistically, it's probably safe to assume it's Starlink there, because they are 2/3 of all of the man-made satellites that's up there. But we cannot fully assume and write them off. We have to pay attention. We have to track them across the screen there with our eyes of our peepers and observe them to do something. To something stranger, therefore letting us know that one is one that is a little bit stranger indeed there. He dropped out, the phone died, then decided it was time to do an update. Oh, it didn't freeze. My one looked like it froze. So all the red lights came on then at once, all the little warnings of your stream's failing. One day we'll get fibre in this village, and then we won't have this problem. It'll be wonderful there. Mercury isn't even in the same room as the microwave. So Mercury is not in microwave at the minute. Can't blame that one. We'll just blame the ghosties for that one there. And Vaz, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from there? Oh, it froze for UK there. Did you know you can connect to radio telescopes for free? Someone of our chat did tell us about this, which is pretty awesome. So we've actually got our own one. It's obviously not as big as one of the massive ones out there, but we have a reasonable sized one, because we do it on our off days. So when it is too cloudy or it's raining, and we can't do our Skywatches, we do an alien radio signal hunt, and we point our dish to the night sky and we listen out on the hydrogen on there, hoping to hear ET say hello. But I have been tempted. Obviously a bigger dish is more sensitive there, a higher increase of chance of detection, so I have been thinking maybe we should at least try one of those concurrently there. Jeffrey, leave it alone. You tell him, Kate. You tell him, go. it was recorded just in case we get the aliens. Well, it is recorded. It is recorded, but and it's live. That is the wonderful thing about the technology that we have in this day and age, is that when we do see these things, we see them live with normally a few hundred other people at the same time, which means that, you know, it's hard to shut that up, isn't it? The powers that be that might not want this to spread, people are seeing it together live. So not only can you guys come in and share your accounts as you do, we're all hearing the things that would otherwise be, you know, either suppressed culturally or by maybe some, you know, manipulation of the media or whatever. But no, we can see it live, we can share those information. That is probably why we are getting the modern day disclosure movement there, because the mainstream explanation and cover up just does not hold like it used to there. People are seeing the evidence for themselves with their own eyes. That is why we love this community. If you're new here, guys, do give us a follow or a sub. We do it pretty much every night there. And that way you get notifications when we go live. But also say hello, let us know where you're all watching from tonight there. And all to be, what is the star name? That is a very good question, and I don't know. We have a fancy gadget where we can move the camera up, down, left, right. But when we do that, I immediately forget where we are pointing. I'm working on a way of tracking that. But at the second, we have no luck there for it. It was a weird one. I wasn't sure if that was a space worm, Kate, there. Back over to the tubers. You've been patiently waiting. Where did we get to? In the chat there. And Victor, I was in the north of France around the 12th of August last year, around midnight, looking out for meteors during the Perseus there, when Starlink swarm went over there. And it's an amazing sight. It really, really is. And like, I mean, I've said it before, you don't need the aliens to be amazed by what is going on up there, whether it is those cool bits of technology or whether it is, you know, the show that nature puts on there with the shooting stars and just looking at the night sky. But when the Starlinks are cool, they always take our breath away when they come across there. And I totally get whilst people who are not aware of Starlink see that line when they're just launched there, very close together, and they go, my God, what the hell is that line in the sky? Is it the full-on alien invasion there? And JC there, let's be honest, what would you all really do if you saw something that was really proof of alien life on this feed? Well, that is a good point there. And I think most of you would phone the police their grasses. I mean, honestly, people have asked this question. They go, right, what do you do if you get the evidence? What do you do if you get that Eureka alien radio signal? And I hadn't thought that far ahead. I was just so focused on getting it, you know, think first, ask questions later. But it is a good question. There are certain reporting channels there. Some of them are better than other certain UFO organizations. But I think the most important thing is it's raising the awareness of the general sense here. So what I really hope to do with the stream is make it accessible to people. Maybe there are people that, well, we know for a fact that the majority of people out there don't really care about aliens and UFOs. They go about their lives day to day. It doesn't really come up. Maybe it's in a movie that's interesting. They've not thought twice about it. Might have heard of Roswell, but they're not negative, but they're also not you know, actively interested. They wouldn't seek it out beyond the sort of a film or something like that. And what we're hoping to do here is, if they can come in, swipe through and go, oh, the night sky looks pretty. And I know it's pretty cloudy tonight, guys, so it's not our best. It will get better. Yeah, if they can swipe through and they can see the night sky, maybe they just want to hang out and hear some interesting stories from people. Maybe that warms them up, because the problem that we have, and it's not just within the UFO community, it's in any specialized industry community there, that if we go straight into the deep stuff, we do a bit too inside baseball with it there. Like, and you've seen this, you know, if somebody's really into their trains and you're not, and they go, oh my God, that train is amazing. Like, you go, well, calm down. I'm not there yet. You know, you've got to match people with where they are. So hopefully we can meet people with just an awesome view of the night sky. They'll come in and they'll go, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this phenomena. Oh, I didn't realize it was all these credible whistleblowers there, all these senior people, you know, in the US intelligence services talking about this. Now, I didn't know that. I hopefully raise that awareness. I think that's where our value is going to be most. We're going to see some cool things, as we have done already. But I think that's where the value is. Can we show people little things they may not have seen elsewhere? Can we just ever so slightly raise the percentage up of awareness about how, you know, much is going on there? It's a very good question there, JC. I know specifically what happens when we see something. I swear and then go silent, which is rare for me, blabbing away. And why the old Bill there, I wouldn't do anything. Most people's default reaction is call the police, you know, and for some ridiculous things as well there. Probably come to jail there for telling the truth. Hey, it's a possibility in this day and age. Definitely in the past, there are some serious consequences for people that have tried to raise awareness about this sort of stuff. Well, that was one on the side of the screen. And would be better phoning the Samaritans there. And Scooby as well, how are you doing tonight there? JC, sitting up there watching the space tube live human hunt. Honestly, JC, I often wonder, and let's zoom in on one for this, right? Like, I don't know what star this is. We'll say it's like 500 light years away, but around that distant star. And again, like our sun, might be bigger, might be smaller, might be brighter, might be cooler, all those sorts of things. But similar fusion reaction in the night sky there, and it's going to have its own planets around it. Around that planet, around that star, those planets, they may be looking back to the faint dot that is our star there, wondering if there is life. Maybe they've got their own version of YouTube or TikTok there, and they're, having the same conversations. The more we're looking, the more there is signs of life over these distant stars and their solar systems, respective solar systems, I should say. We're on the early days of having the technology to detect it, but those early signs do look very, very, very promising. Exactly, yeah, Scooby. And Willow there are so many dimensions out there and around us. Very interesting angle, because the dimensional component to this is something that it's coming more common now, but I came into the UFO alien world very nuts and bolts, very Little Green Men, Roswell, metalcraft coming from distant planets, all that sort of stuff. But it's not just that. There is, as an explanation that we're searching for, it could be a time angle on this. There's a good argument that the greys that everybody reports seeing most commonly, they could be us in the future. Evolutionarily speaking, it makes sense. We are on the trends to look like them in a very long time. But also dimensions, as you say there. Now, we talk about dimensions, I think, a little bit because of Hollywood. We talk about them slightly wrong, but there are still many of them out there. They do theorize. If you go by string theory, they think 11. Now, we operate in 4 as humans, so we're technically multi-dimensional or trans-dimensional. There we do, forward, backwards, left, right, up and down. There are spatial dimensions. Then we operate in one temporal dimension, time going forward. But string theory thinks there's 11. Now, I don't like string theory, but it just goes to show that there are probably more dimensions than we perceive there. It's a very interesting angle there. And Stuart from Sunderland, welcome aboard there. How are your skies tonight? We're hoping for those clouds to pass very, very soon there. And Scooby, I'm trying to raise awareness myself. I think that's the best that we can do, and it's possibly the most stable way. It's not necessarily the most glamorous or the fastest, but talk about a stable foundation to build, a community on, or to build awareness. And I think it is going to be just people seeing the evidence and coming to the conclusions themselves. Not everyone's going to be ready, but if we can meet them wherever they are and, show them what is out there to the degrees, because that's the big thing that not only is my favourite part about doing this stream, but it's really changed my beliefs around the phenomena, is hearing your stories, how much is observed and how often, really changed my understanding there. End of this year is official disclosure there, Willow. It could well be. It does feel like we are actually on the cusp of something like that. And no grid. Oh, Scooby, are you on the correct one? So, actually, no. With the cloud that we're getting, it does kind of blur a lot of the grid out there, just the contrast there. But if tubers, if you're on the vertical, like you're on your mobile phone stream up that way, you're probably looking at the lower quality feed there. You want to click on the channel and look at the main live. It should show you the horizontal, and you should see me in the corner there, and that is the better quality feed, so make sure you're over for that one there. And good evening there, Willow. Good to have you in. Where are you joining us from? And JC there, it has to be the Fermi Paradox talk there. And be honest there. Imagine knowing you came, we killed one of you. Would you come back and let us know? This is an interesting one. I do think that if there's an alien species that is capable of traveling here, and if there's one, there's going to be loads, I think that they wouldn't be as bothered by that, because it's kind of like how, if they're more superior, if they're more advanced than us, they would understand where we are evolutionarily and in our society. Same way that we, if we go to the outback, we do like a safari, the lions might eat a few people every now and again, but we don't blame the lions. I think maybe that would be the attitude. That's what I would expect there. And could a UFO disguise itself as a satellite? And living light, it could well do. If we go to the New Jersey drone flap from the other year, they appeared to be trying to mimic aircraft there to blend in a bit, and it would make sense as well. Willow was just thinking about the fairy realm there, another dimension, layers of energy with the folk stories there, and the fairies stealing people and time jumping. Seems familiar to Eater. You now on the head with that one. If we take away our human interpretation from the phenomena, how we're trying to understand it through our culture, our knowledge, and at the time, and we look back and go, right, what is the core of people describing, people disappearing, time, lights in the sky, the fairy, the fae? Religious texts talk about this as well. It could be the same thing the whole time there. We're in exciting times. We really, it does feel like we're on the cusp of it there. And, okay, it was the clouds there. Thank you for the heads up, Scooby, because sometimes it does drop out, though. And Stuart there, do you believe Travis Walton claiming that he was abducted by the aliens? And that became the movie there, Fire in the Sky. So, honestly, I don't know. Like, I have a percentage of belief around a lot of these things. Do I think alien life is out there? 100%. Do I think there's advanced alien life out there? 99.999. Do I think we're being visited? 98%. Do I believe any but one particular story? It's diminishing returns just because I don't have enough information. But it's not that I necessarily disbelieve. It's just like, I'm a guy that I need to see it for myself. So Travis Walton, he's one of the more credible ones, but there's still his interpretation around it. There's still layers where, there could be some question marks around it, even if he's being as honest there. UFO cloak, I think, too, and disguise, and it would make sense, right? I'm going to bounce back over to the TikTok. You guys have been waiting patiently. I'm bouncing between a few chats tonight, so it takes me a second to catch up, but I do want to hear from you. Let's have a look. Where did we get to? Was there. No, it's just 3 Starlinks at the same time. They are so up there. And what about Mars one day there? Vaz, Mars is such an interesting planet. We need boots on the ground as soon as possible. I think there's a lot of evidence that there is something a little bit stranger going on. Oh, there's a flashy one at the bottom. Keep your eyes on that movement, guys. Remember, we need to see it do something strange there. Something like stop, dead, shoot off at speed, change its course, its trajectory. Only that will tell us for sure that it is a little bit more stranger there. But Mars is very strange there. Lots of evidence for maybe civilization there in the past, but definitely for active life still there to this day. And does MUFON track activity? Various groups do track the activity in a general sense, they look for trends and things like that. It's mostly retrospectively, I believe, rather than a reactive on there. But there are modern apps like Enigma Labs is a good one there that is live tracking. People around the world can submit their sightings to it, and there's tools within it that will help basically you do it. Is it a plane? Is it a satellite there? DJ Spider, hello, thank you for the gifts. I'm a few messages behind, DJ, but I'll catch up to you in a second there. How have you been? It's very good to see you there. You were about a year ago, wasn't it, that we met doing the streams there. Didn't look like a spaceman. I wasn't sure, but it did look a bit weird there. And another Starlink in 60 seconds, most probably there, Vaz. It looked illuminated, but not at satellite level. Maybe UK, maybe that was an anomalous one there. And it's not there. And Vaz, by the way, just tracking the Starlinks there, we can detect your location. Very interesting. I publicly doxed myself here because of the town that we are in. It's a very small town. So let's see. Type it in the chat now. See if you've got it there, because I'm sure you can. But tell me where it is, and we'll see if you've got it, and then in a second I'll tell you where I am. And I do dox myself because this little village that we are in here in the UK, right in the heart of crop circle country, has such a history with the phenomena. In the 60s and 70s it had its own wave there that was really, really intense, very solid for 10 years or so. So we're named after that event, and yes, that's why we give away our location. There, another Starlink there, Vaz, and Miles there. You should watch the sky in infrared there, especially in daytime, and also in night vision. So Miles, you're very right. We have got an infrared camera, and they do say that the phenomena is going to be very, very active in the infrared. In fact, it's been one of our priorities, except for it's just really expensive to do it enough for the stream. We have got a camera. We're actually trying it for the first time earlier on in the week. The problem is it's not one of the expensive ones. So it was too zoomed in, so we got the infrared, but we were sacrificing that wide coverage area, so then our odds of getting something were much lower. So we are working on it, because you are very, very right. Infrared, they're part of the light spectrum that we don't see as humans. Some animals do, but the phenomenon is meant to be very, very active in that there. And as you right there, Kate as well. I don't need to do all the work there. Location is scrolling to the top of the screen. It is there. And George, welcome aboard. Thank you for the follow there as well. And Simp Shooter there. What do you think happens to us when we leave Earth? Well, this is a good question there. What are the effects of deep space travel? We know we're exposed to a lot of radiation, especially over those longer journeys there. We know things happen to our bones, don't we? The zero-G on all of those effects. There are questions. Can humans survive a long-distance trip to Mars or something like that? The more we are looking, though, the more organisms and life forms are here on Earth. Even some more complex ones like fruit flies are actually incredibly resilient to space, more so than we would have expected. So although there are a lot of questions and there will be a lot of things that do go wrong, I mean, astronauts experience weird things after long extents in the ISS. You know, there's probably some things to consider, but I think, you know, we are very ingenious there. We will find ways around in there. And why is no one talking about the 17 earthquakes around Area 51 today? I've heard about this, but earthquakes are, I think the most obvious one around that is that they do deep underground testing there, and they've probably pushed their luck with something and they've screwed around with something like that. Now, it might not be, might be still something, even if it's underground testing related to the phenomena, but it is very, very interesting. Has anybody got any more information on it? Because I've only really seen the headline there. And Kate coming in with the shares. Guys, it is those likes and those shares that helps us reach more and more like-minded people there, like yourselves. Again, the more eyes and minds we get on the phenomena, the more we can all piece this puzzle together. And Kate, me personally, I had no idea that happened. And that's the first time I've heard of it. So honestly, the same here. I thought I knew all of the UFO stuff, roughly speaking, all the general experiences. But yeah, moving here, Googling this little town, oh, it's got its own UFO flap here. Like, that is crazy. Like, the level of stuff that went on here. And we still see things there. We are not alone, Baz. 100%. And Brad there, did you see the video I sent you on the Toki about the new... Oh, no, I haven't seen that one yet. In the Tesla. No, I haven't seen that one yet. This weekend I'm catching up, so I will see it then. Thank you, Brad. That's how I keep up to date. And Roan there coming in with the shares there. There's a case just tapping his clapping. We do appreciate that one, guys. As well there, Joanne, how are you doing there? And Flip-Flop, hi mate there. There's a great show there. I don't think there will be a big reveal. So, Flip, you might be very well right with that. And good to see you. And thank you, it's very, very kind. Now, what is disclosure? I thought initially what I wanted was the president there on the White House lawn with a grey saying, look guys, we've known all along, here they are, you know, look, here's a spaceship. But I think you're right. I think actually disclosure is more of it's like the line of international waters, the boundaries, you know, it's a line on a map there. It's how many people believe versus don't there. A lot of people will still see that. And to be honest, if Trump come out now and said, you know, yeah, they're real, I mean, I would take a lot for me to go, yeah, but can't give us more, you know, like, are you just distracting by saying that? You know, it has to be something very, very big to be that real slam dunk. And are we going to get that? Not unless they are forced. Maybe there is enough crap going on at the minute when actually the easier option is to distract us with something big like that, because hey, what better to distract us from something serious is something that is bigger than all of us. So I feel there's a chance, but I do think my main belief is disclosure is going to be imminent to degrees, ever increasingly, because we are so connected, because more and more people have more and more experiences and they just can't hide it anymore. There, DJ, I've got your message now. How have you been there? Have you seen the Bob Lazar documentary? I have. It is very, very awesome there. Cornwall as well, DJ. I do love a bit of Cornwall there. And Joanne, there is that Vega. You know what? It might be, actually. It's in that triangular formation. Very good spotting there, and especially with the cloud cover we've got. It is due to go in a bit, so hopefully we're going to get some more clarity. I'll spin the camera around and see if we can find a clearer patch soon. And those little beggars are immune to everything there. I've had to stop buying bananas. They really are. They really, really are there. And Agent X there, can you put a post on the Discord to see if anyone wants to do Urbex in South Yorkshire? Actually, I'll probably forget, but I'll try to remember Agent X there. And A up there, did you access the filter bit? Oh, it's from the chat. Right, back over to the for the tubes. Let's see where you guys got up to, where I got up to in the chat there. Could a no, don't know. Oh, could a UFO? Yeah, no, did that. Yeah, and well, from no, I did that one. It was the clouds there. Travis Walton, we did that one. Cloak there. Look at the flower full moon tonight. I'd love to, but it's perfectly just below. Is this true? Yeah, it's still below. Yeah, it's behind some trees perfectly at the back of my garden, so we can't get a shot. So we're getting all of the light from the damn moon, blocking our night vision in, and that's why, guys, we're on like a 5 out of 10, maybe a 4 for clarity. Hopefully, though, the clouds are going to go, I'm going to get a bit of that back. But also the moon's brightness is giving us the night vision, taking our night vision out there. So honestly, how it normally looks, this is nothing. So yeah, the moon's going to sod off, though, over the next few days, so it should start to improve again there. But yeah, it's in that awkward spot where we're getting blinded by it, but we're not able to do a cool moon watch there. And you still need to do the Sir Danny. Raf, I tried looking for it again last night. What chat did you put it in? I couldn't find it, because I did go to watch it last night, but I couldn't find it in on the in on the Discord there. And Scooby, first contact will be with a humanoid, most looking like us. Then the rest will be revealed. I think you're right in the sense that, you know, we're gonna have to. Oh look, we're still able to see those bright ones coming through. We need to be eased into it, and I think we're kind of seeing this now. Like, you know, NASA has basically said that they very strongly believe they have evidence of life previously on Mars. We think they've actually got evidence that there is life currently on Mars from the 70s. Oh, got a flash out down there, and we've got this big one.
Zoom mode activated.
But there we go, look at that. Nice and big and bright, that one. Keep your eyes on it, though, as it is on the screen. We're looking for it to do something strange. One down there as well. Oh, one up there, too. I need to see it stop dead, shoot off its speed, change the course or trajectory. Ooh, didn't zoom out properly. Yeah, we think they've had active life, evidence of life on Mars currently, but it's those incremental steps, isn't it? That there was life there in the past. Everybody accepts that. There is life there now, but it's simple. You don't have to worry. Everybody accepts that. We're getting those biosignatures from those distant planets there now around other stars. So all life in simple form exists out there too, warming us up now, allowing for us to believe in the possibility of that. So it's those steps, getting those locked in. And I think, and so I think part of that would be a humanoid alien. Now, if they are humanoid, what are the chances of an evolutionary convergence that they're going to look exactly like us? Now, there is a small chance that maybe how we're laid out, you know, bipedal, 2 legs, you know, head, shoulders, arms, all that sort of stuff, brain in the top, maybe that is the most advantageous way for intelligent life to develop there. You know, in the sea, the most efficient way to exist is at the deep sea anyway, is a crab. You know, there's multiple conversion evolutions on the crab design. Same with just general fish for the swimming design there. Lots of separate species have kind of gone, this is the best way to work there. So maybe intelligence does look similar to us, but I don't think it's obvious. I think if that isn't the case, then we must be related. If we are that similar, I mean, look however many similar species there are in Earth that we are here on Earth that we aren't directly connected to. Not many that look like that out of all of the ranges. So it's a very good one there. And the tall whites watch over us, the Elohim in the Bible. Again, it's that connection back to, you know, the Bible and all this sort of stuff. Like, you look, and it's not just the Bible. Many religious texts all talk about a similar sort of thing there. And the moon is gold glowing. Oh, I wish I could see it from here. It's just behind the trees there. In the media, I did check the media. I'll have another look in there. Thank you, Ref, though, for that. And Angel Metatron there in the Bible looks like a UFO orb. Again, there's lots of that. Is it St. Francis of Assisi apparently had an experience there with, like, you know, what we think is a UFO now, but also died of what appears to be radiation poisoning, which again reflects some of those modern experiences there. And JC there, Christ, life is in simple form, seems to be a thing on Earth there. Some folk are devolving. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely an argument. Is there intelligent life here? It's definitely complex, but is it intelligent? But it looks to be that life happens absolutely everywhere, and it happens. The life is going to be absolutely everywhere. I do believe we're seeing so many indicators of that now. Not any individual one is a strong enough conviction in of itself to say 100% through the scientific method yet, but that is mainly a product of the limitations of our technology there and how it's achieved. But the more advanced our technology gets, that's a big one. That's a big one. Look at that.
Zoom mode activated.
Right, remember guys, we need to see it do something strange, like stop dead, shoot off its speed, change its course, its trajectory, anything like that. It's a little bit of an orange glow to that one as well, which is interesting, because you imagine the white is washing that out there, so it's probably a darker, rather than yellow, more of an orange. And orange is interesting because, now, plasma is meant to coat the UFOs. If they're using that warp drive technology, the theory is that they'd be coated in a sort of an ionized plasma, which to us would appear as a glowing reddy orange. So it could be very interesting there. That one is slightly different to a lot of the other ones that we are seeing there. So definitely there. Right, let's have a look up through the chat. Where do we get to on the old TikToks? To Vega there. Go away. I'll give you disclosure. I'll invite you to a special ops whistleblower on one night. But that's a very good point, Agent X there. What qualifies as disclosure? Because I thought, back in the day, if there ever was a craft over a city that thousands of people witnessed, clearly strange lights in the sky behaving in ways that our technology at the time can't do, that would be it. It'd be in the news, it'd spread around the world, just like in the films. And it would bubble up, you know, from the bottom up, it would spread out as awareness there. But that has happened. The Phoenix Lights and other occasions, like multiple other ones. And you know what? The common consensus, it hasn't gone that high. It's been filtered out by our own biases and how media works and how humans work. There, lots of coming in tonight. Keep your eyes on these ones. Look at this, nice and bright and fast. There, we need to see it do something strange. Though, so keep your eyes on it there as we zoom back out. But yeah, so as you say there, Agent X, you're talking to whistleblowers there now. If that's the case, that we believe the individuals, why is that not enough there? If somebody's coming out, I mean, we've got presidential advisors, we've got people actively in the intelligence services in the US now coming out saying, yes, there is something going on, we have seen stuff, but that is not enough to push that mainstream belief over the line. What is disclosure? I think it's more of a state of mind than an event, isn't it, there? And disclosure is already starting to happen there with the missing scientist DJ. It could well be the case. It's convenient that we do seem to be on the cusp. They're talking about some sort of official version of it. And then the people we theorise that are going to be best placed to start that conversation, to be the first people to explain maybe what is going on, start to disappear. It's always darkest before the dawn, but it probably just means that we are close there. I really do feel that there. Back in the day, and if you remember from last year, I would constantly say, is it that there's more going on now, or is it that we're just more connected, so we're seeing more of what's going on? Maybe it's always been happening to the same degree, but we're so much more connected, we're just seeing it a lot. I still think that's part of it there, but it does feel like, on the disclosure point of view, that we are close. There's more movement in that camp, 100%. Rich, the chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1, they said, but still they come. Dun, 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 dun. My neighbour, when I was growing up, I had 2 brothers live next door to me. Well, essentially, they felt like brothers anyway. We'd always hang out. But the younger one, he hated the War of the Worlds, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds soundtrack there. So we would put it on without him knowing. And we would just watch him lose his shit there. Dun, dun, dun. He'd melt down. A bit cruel when you look back, but it was hilarious as a kid there. I do love a little bit of the War of the Worlds there. Where are we there? We live in a world where everything is in some way controlled. It very much is, and you know what? It's only going to get worse. And I don't mean that in a dystopian sense there. I think that is the nature of expanding civilizations. We can look back, can't we, to the Bronze Age settlements there, civilizations, and how those early cities formed. And how it works is a trade-off between resources and control. You've got to have both, because you can't have people dicking around making it difficult for everyone, but yet you've got to provide the resources enough so people can afford to follow the rules. And it's an ever increasing line there. And I think if we draw this forward, we would need to be incredibly disciplined and incredibly homogenized, but the same, to deal with the technology of advanced warp travel. But also, if you have that technology, well, you probably can afford the resources so everybody's experience is the same. So I think we have to be careful. That is always a negotiation. It is always to be abused and abused, but I do think it probably is inevitable, but in thousands and thousands of years of time. There, we can't force it. CIA head said the moon was 2,000 years old there, a stationary UFO. I do think the moon is weird. I don't know if it's going to be 2,000 years old. I think there's probably things that we can tell in the geologic record there. And again, do we trust the scientists there? But in the geologic record that will tell us if we've had those sorts of gravitational interactions. I don't think we've had any sort of severe disruptions for at least since, like the Younger Dryas properly. But maybe there was something going on there. I do think the moon is strange there. And it could well be. The moon does have some weirdness to it. It could just be a unique, beautiful object. That is still very much possible. But it also could be strange. There is some questions to be asked there. And Ryan there, the WHO there are the ones briefing the likes of Luna and Bichette there, the government and private companies. So who are the ones briefing them? I mean, the infiltration of private companies into these things is quite worrying in a general sense there. But look, whoever we get in power, whichever government you're in, are going to be a politician. That is the nature of the beast. What happened there? Hold on. It cast off in the tube. Sorry, guys. Bloody technology. Just cut us off there. We'll try that one again. But yeah, it's I can't remember where we was now. Let me just catch up on the tubes then. Let's have a look. Where did we get to? Oh my god, there's a few messages there. I'm glad I had the opportunity to catch up. DJ, hello, you found us back there. TikTok threw us, cut us off there. Astro as well. How are we doing, guys? Let me catch up with the chat. Where did we get to there? I agree, alien life is out there. It really, really has to be there. And JC, what if one of the many dead cultures Earth has had in its millions of years there actually made it and came back? And are they the aliens? That is another angle for this there, isn't it? There's another angle. It could well be like pre-Diluvian civilization, as they say. You know, there's been enough time. Earth has been habitable and been a wonderful, hospitable place there. And would we know, with weather on Earth, you know, and tectonic plate movement, what evidence would there be of that past culture? DJ, yeah, gotta love this app. It's a bloody pain in the arse. Paul as well there. Thank you for the likes there. Alien life is already amongst us and lives here. It could well be the case. And one of the things that really makes my eyes go up around that is the new Steven Spielberg film that's coming out. It seems to be around all of that there. Ajax, yeah, it booted me. It just shut us down. It just ended the live. It just, yeah, kicked us off our live. But yeah, and so is it Spielberg just kind of picking up on the zeitgeist, making a film about the subjects that people are talking about? Or is it, in fact, the fact that he is connected, and maybe they do want us to have some more information around that, and they're seeding that information through fiction, so we do have some idea of what is going on there. And it wasn't men driving the saucer I saw 47 years ago for 20 minutes. I can definitely believe it there. Or we would know about it by now. And I think you're right about that. Like, technology doesn't necessarily happen in a vacuum with these sorts of things. Like, you know, back in the day, you could probably get, you know, some scientists in a secret military lab there working on the next big artillery piece, bigger board barrel, maybe some metallurgy thing, working on the metals or something to improve barrel strength to make it a bigger one or something like that. But this is leaps and jumps ahead. It relies on so many different independent disciplines within science there that you can't just develop that in a vacuum. It's like modern day AI. I'm not a fan of the government had AI 30 years ago, because the only reason we have modern day AI, maybe they could develop the large language models, but we didn't have the data sets for it to train on. It was only having Twitter now, having, you know, YouTube to train that data on, and Reddit and all this sort of stuff there, that they've been able to teach it for it to learn. So certain things nowadays, the technology is more and more connected. So I think you're probably right with that. I do feel like it would have come out, unless, you know, if it's a technology that we've developed, unless it's like a one-off, like a prototype, maybe they've got one craft working or something like that. But if they've not fully mastered it yet, I think it would come out. There's too much of an incentive for it to do that. Where did we get to here? It wasn't, no, I don't know when to do it, or we would know about it there. And Willow there, has anyone watched the YouTube of the alien TV interruption of 1977 there? A broadcast was hijacked. It's a bit spooky, but it felt calm listening there. Interesting, and it was Hampshire as well as where it happened. I've heard about that one, I haven't seen it. It's, well, interesting. It really is interesting, isn't it, that? And interesting to say calm as well, because some people, yeah, find that calming. The reassurance. A lot of the people have experiences with the phenomena that talk about it being a calming experience, reassurance that there's something more out there, and I could definitely get behind that. Well, I think I'd be terrified, but I do understand why. And JC there was already pretty much boom time for LSD. Well, these are things that we do have to consider as well with our analogies there, and it's a true P6070s there. And Scooby, you need to point your infrared towards the Stonehenge there. The light shouldn't affect that. And the ones you're using now, that is true. That is true. The infrared light there won't be infrared over the city there, so we could do it. The problem is that camera set is so zoomed in when we did it the other night. Like the patch of sky that we could see, I think, was more... I thought it was 4 of the squares that we can see on the grid, but it's more like 1, I think, maybe just over. And again, we're just the statistical odds of just having that right patch of sky where the UFOs are is a bit difficult. But I really do want to do it there. And so I can't sadly look at the flower moon. It's behind trees for us where we are here. It's not high enough. And have you read Thomas Middleton's book there, The Legends of Longdown? No, there. It's a great paranormal book. Oh, what's the gist of it there? General paranormal? I do like a bit of spooky stuff. I haven't heard of that one there. Still need to do the Sir Danny one. I'm gonna tonight. If it's in the media chat, I will find it tonight. And we will check that one out there. The first contact will be with the humanoid. No, wait, no, I mean, I've done this. Where are we? Sorry, guys. I've done these questions. Yeah, I did that one. I seem to be messing up the chat order for us here. I feel society is divided there. People who are awake and are meant to, and people who won't be on that path. There is definitely divisions in society. There definitely I think is there, and it's a complicated one. It's a different mindset. It really boils down to left or right brain hemisphere dependency. One's more creative, open to connections, and the other one is analytical, and it's talking about the next iterative step there. And that's why we have political bias as well within individuals as well. You've got the brain is a muscle, and one of them is normally stronger than the other, and therefore you're more like to use that sort of that way. But just like the brain itself, you have those different hemispheres. One is that direct focused one, the analytical side there, and that is to look at the prey that you're about to eat. That is your dinner. You just want to focus on that one creature that you want to eat it. But the other part of your brain is to make sure you're still kind of paying attention to your wider environment to make sure you're not the prey. And again, that is why we need to understand that that's what's going on with this, and be less tribal and kind of appreciate the things that the other side see that we miss, because that is the truth of it. We need those skill sets. In the same way as we need it within ourselves, we need that within our society. The people that are very, very analytical, but also the people that are open to those new things and able to adapt to change. And JC there, it's people who are awake and those who fall into the Flat Earthers group. I've seen a wide range. And Red Breton, how you doing there? Given the number of planets predicted by physics there, do you think the probability of intelligent life elsewhere is actually low, or just currently unobservable because of technological limitations? I love the way that you have put that there, because if only the mainstream scientific the non-ones that are in the planetary sphere, because they're up to date, but other sciences there, if only they viewed it and understood that is where it is there. When people say, where are all the aliens, where is the evidence, it is more of a limit of our technology that we're not really looking. Our understanding of what is in our immediate space is quite limited. We could quite easily have lots of UFOs coming and going, but the bits that we are starting to get, the little nuggets of information, does look very, very promising. And the more advanced our technology gets there, in fact, the reason why most of the scientific community didn't to believe in UFOs or believe in aliens being out there is because they didn't know there were other planets around other stars. And now I think they started in the 90s. They got the first planet detection of an exoplanet. Now we know of loads. We do think it's going to be absolutely everywhere. And because of that, therefore, statistically, life is going to be everywhere. But on top of that, we are now starting to develop the technology to analyze the atmospheres, and we're starting to see lots of biosignatures, lots that life is going to be absolutely everywhere. So it's a brilliant way of putting that one there, Red Britain. And Obama saying aliens are real was enough to keep me going there. I liked it. I could get that as a slip of the tongue, but I think you're right there. I think the fact that we're getting presidents talk about this now, it is, we are on the cusp, I think, of winning it over. You never win 100% of people over. That is the nature of the beast. People have different belief structures and understandings, and we need them to. Even if they are objectively wrong versus reality, it's always useful. It's like an immune system there, because the truth is always changing. It is always dynamic there. And I think we are more connected now. We 100% are. We 100% are. There's a very good gun there. JC, the government can't tell us anything, as social structures would collapse between facts, science, religion, and ideologies there. Humans are too thick and too fast to dismiss the truth and protect themselves. So that is one of the reasons that they do cite. And, that made a lot of sense for a while. There was that report, we did read it on one of our deep dives, didn't we? The NASA did. I can't remember what it was now, but basically saying, yeah, look, they're not able to handle that different worldview. But then I'd realised something. I went, wait a minute, and I'm not sure that it is true, because the turn of the last century, 19th century, 1900s, there, it was common belief that Venus and Mars had life. It was very common. They thought they were observing canals. They thought they were getting signals from them. So mainstream people there, and arguably much more religious and dogmatic there, they both thought that there was not only alien life, but it was within the solar system, you know. And we were fine. We got on with things there. Will there be friction? There always is friction. When anything changes, there is always friction. But I don't think it'll be anywhere near as big. But also, whatever reality is reality. And the sooner we need to know. It's like pulling an elastic band. If you keep pulling that, you're going to be under more and more tension. And at some point, that's going to snap back. And the further you've pulled it, the harder that snap's going to be. If we can slowly alleviate that tension by slowly releasing it, then we have a chance at that correction not being so harsh for us there. But it's a good observation there. Oh, you're done now, Raf. Thank you for joining us there. Hopefully we'll catch you over the weekend there, but enjoy your long shifts there. And there. And oh, Kate, you popped over there. What happened? So yeah, TikTokers. TikTok just closed us down. Just turned us off. It just ended our stream. Just come and went, we've ended your stream. Didn't give a reason. Not even a violation this time, just went, we've ended it. So sorry about that, and thank you for finding us again there. So I'm just working my way through the YouTube chat, and I will see where we got there. TikTok, Brad went down there, thank you, A-Up. We should be back on now, though. And Atlantis, it's very interesting. It could well be. Look, I think our mainstream understandings are functional, right? You tell the kids enough so they can have a conversation with everybody else and get on with work, basically. You know, we can, in this country, I know Henry VIII had a lot of wives. I can't remember all their names, but that's enough that I'll laugh at a Henry VIII joke, right? And we can communicate with ourselves. It's a functional understanding. Unless I'm going into history as a career, then I'll go to learn more. But we pass these functional understandings off as fully correct. We kind of hold on to them dearly. The linear development of humanity as a function, as a starting point, great, but it is no longer holding up the more we are finding out. The more connected we are finding now there. Hey, so Newish here there. Is that Nui there? If I pronounce it right there. What are you looking for and how? Brilliant question there. Viking, hello. So we are looking for UFO UAP. This is a Skywatch, so UFO alien Skywatch, coming to you live from Wiltshire in the UK, which is right in the heart of Crop Circle country, just down the road from Stonehenge. Lots of weird things in the night sky tonight there. We're going to see lots of movement. There's one coming on screen now, but there are also lots of man-made satellites up there. So this live sky camera is for my garden, or the sky above it. We're looking for that movement on the screen there, but we have to pay attention. There's lots of satellites, as we say, and we therefore need them to do something strange, something a satellite just can't do to help us filter it out from down here. So brilliant question there, but do ask away, guys. And Victor there, if the Roswell crash was a weather balloon, why was the Werner von Braun, the rocket scientist who was testing the rockets at White Sands Range in New Mexico, and asked to look at the wreckage? It's little things like that that make you think, doesn't it, there, that there is something a little bit more to it there. I do think there was something going on at Roswell there. And Brad as well, welcome in, thank you for that. The tubes and the clouds look like a giant, looking back to you there. They do have some interesting patterns. I'm hoping for it to bloody pass. That's what we want there. And Viking there, what's the oldest planet? Good question. Well, lots of our planets formed, I think, like Jupiter, the larger ones formed first in our solar system. Out there, no idea. We're starting to view more and more older galaxies there, but we don't know what the oldest ones is. With the older ones we've found, yeah, I'm not sure specifically there. And good evening, Nocturnal Frequency there, JC. No, Betty, Mary. Oh, what's that? And Ingrid, yeah, they're the wives. Right, I'm going to pop back over to the TikTok chat now and catch up with you guys. You're patiently waiting for us now. I'm across a couple of chats tonight on different lives, so do say hello, but it might take me a minute to get over to you and read your messages. I do want to hear from you all, though, so if you are new here, do say hello and let us know where you're all watching from tonight. Oh, the clouds seem to be passing a bit there, so we've got more chance to watch for the strange and anomalous. Where did we get to there? Can't wait for the Disclosure Day movie there. Spielberg must have info. I really lean that way. I'm excited to see. I'm going into it thinking, what do they want us to know? What did they want us to convey, but not actually come out and say there? And yes, I did mention that the contact will be made in the age of Aquarius, which is now. I mean, yeah, there are a few things that have pointed this way there, and does it have to be a one or the other? Oh, what was that for, Kate? I can't remember. And Lonely there, have you actually seen the UFOs yet? Oh, we have. We very much have. Now, what those UFOs are, that's the difficulty. we've seen many objects up in the night sky that aren't following the rules that satellites have to follow there, or shooting stars and things like that. So we can very easily filter out the known things, but we get into the area of, okay, well, what the hell is it? And this is the mainstream explanation, even from the military and stuff now. They recognize the UFO phenomena, but they, saying what it is, confirming that it is ET waving as he goes by, or maybe it's some sort of strange weather property we've never seen or predicted before. That is the difficulty. But we definitely do see those anomalous things that don't follow the mainstream rules there. So keep hanging out, we'll find them there. So particularly watch the moving objects on the screen. Most of them will be man-made satellites, but every now and again one will do something strange. And there's also a bit of a middle ground there as well. Things that act weird, not fully, the behavior isn't something a satellite 100% can't do, but also we get a feel for satellites. Sometimes there's some odd things about them there, so keep your eyes on those ones. And Brondy there as well. Why does the clouds look like an alien? I mean, there's some strange patterns in there. Maybe they're putting up their smoke screen there. Okay, and yet they know there were planners back in planets back in like the 5th century. So that is actually a very interesting point there. There are some ancient tribes that kind of had a very good estimation of what was going on and knew that the Earth orbited the sun well before Western civilization. In fact, there are certain cultures that talk about very specific traits about certain planets, and I'm thinking particularly here of the Dogon tribe in Africa that talk about their ancients, and this has been recorded throughout anthropology for many, many, many years before we had the technology to confirm this. But they talk about their ancient ancestors there being contacted by beings off of other planets there. They visited them, and they said they were from they pointed to the night star and in the night sky, and it's Sirius that we can see in our night sky, and they said it's actually a binary star, so that's 2 stars in the system. We see the light from one, the main one, but there's another star there that you can't visually see, and they said that star was in like a 50-year orbit around the other one. And lo and behold, when we got the technology, I think in the 80s, we confirmed that it is a binary system and it wasn't a 50-year orbit. How the fuck did they know that thousands of years ago? Very, very strange indeed. There are lots of things that point towards either, look, maybe there was a very advanced human civilization that did get all this information there, like the anomalous maps that show Antarctica before the ice, and that knowledge has been passed down, or maybe the visitations and things, or a bit of both there. It's all about money and power. It's a big part of it, but money is like, I find money and power, it's like mass. It follows the principles of physics as well, and like physics, we can choose to put in the effort to work against it, to push against how it's going to normally flow there. Oh, there's a flash. If I see it again, I'm going to zoom in on that one. Oh no, it's coming off the screen, damn. Oh, we could have zoomed in on that one. But yeah, it is a big part of what's going on. But we can push against it. And oi, how are you doing? Good to see you in there. And I don't know if I can remember what I said. It probably was to do with the other planets there. And Lonely there. So it's very hard for me to believe in UFOs, as I understand how things work. So Lonely, I love that. I really love that. And look, skeptics are totally welcome here as well. I mean, as long as everybody's respectful. I mean, even within the believer side of the community there are very different opinions, very passionately held about what is going on. Look, and I get that. If you've had that experience yourself, you're going to feel very passionately. So that's it. And I think the way you've worded that is really good, really well there. Like, I find it hard to believe, and it's not, it's not for us to try and convince you there. Like this, all we can do is we can say these are the things that interest us about this, and maybe there's going to be a lot of things there that I find interesting, or people in our community will find interesting here, and there is a mainstream explanation for that, and that's how it all works there. I think ultimately, I believe just in mainstream science believes, look, life is going to be out there, aliens are going to be out there as well, and it's just a numbers game of how many of them are civilized and at the time. So the indications that life is going to be abundant there. So then it's really a numbers game of, do we exist at the right time where they've managed to get to the technology to visit us? Because if we do exist at the time they have the technology, I do think it's very plausible that they would. But it's not a slam, unless you've had that experience yourself, it's not necessarily a slam dunk that is what is going on there. So what bits really do you think, Lonely, as well? Like, what do you think, because there's definitely, I think, a lot of things that are labelled as anomalous, and there's a little bit of information to say are not quite that. But we'd love to hear, like, what's your take on this there? Or maybe a better way would be to, where do you still feel there might be possibility? Where do you still the hope in there? Because you've obviously got a curious mind, because the people that don't, they come in and they go, they're all satellites. And we go, well, we know there's a lot of satellites, but we're looking for those rarer ones there that might be a little bit stranger, you know, but you've come in with an open mind. So is there any area that you think, you know, like, that could be an angle for it? Do appreciate that one, Lonely. Where are you joining us from as well then? DJ, the UK released all UFOs from the last 50 years investigations, and they're on their site there where you can still read them. We're reading the actual Condign report from, I think, the late 90s from the UK government there, which is looking into the phenomena. We're halfway through it at the minute, but it is actually really well done. It is really unbiased there, and they are saying that there are anomalies. I think it is mainly a lack of technology to record the data, because I do think these things, these events and interactions are going to be a lot rarer than most other things. So it makes sense that to collect that data is going to be quite difficult, like a lot of other things. But as we advance more, the more data is going to be recorded, and therefore the more chance for explanations and understanding whatever that explanation is, or explanations. I think it's unlikely that it's just one thing going on, considering the range of it there. And Agent X, here is something important there. The UK stopped investigating UFOs in the late 2000s when they realised they were real and couldn't do a thing. But that is the other thing. Look what people do, not what people say. You know, they'll say one thing and then do another. So this thing, what does that tell us? You know, if they've stopped looking, either they believe there is nothing to it, or they've got the answers and therefore there's no value in doing that. And I lean towards the second one there, because if you look into science there, if they don't know the answer to something, they're still going to look. They're compelled to. They can't let it go. So I think there's a strong case that they've got the answers they need at that level there. DJ and Oi, thank you for the gifts, guys. Appreciate that. All the gift subs, Patreon, super chats, all that stuff does go back into the stream, helping us improve what we do there. And where are we there? Jeremy as well. If they move into the infrared, we would not see them. But if you use a phone, you could see them. So very interesting point there, Jeremy. So the lot history of the phenomena is interacting in the infrared exclusively there. And that is part of the light spectrum that us as humans, we don't see. And this camera is looking in the visible light. And what we see as humans, seeing a lot of it, but it's still that same frequency range. Now, the low end infrared, the high end ultraviolet, again, we don't perceive them. Some animals do, but we haven't needed to. Evolutionarily speaking, nothing's killed us enough for us to develop that sensor. But lots of reports talk about the infrared being very, very active for the phenomena, and it's been on our list for a very long time to kind of upgrade so we can see it in the infrared as well. This camera can do it, but it's got an inbuilt filter that needs to be removed by a professional. So we do have a little infrared camera. We tried it this week for the first time, but it wasn't quite good enough up to the job for us, sadly. But you're right, the infrared is going to be a very active part for the phenomena, but not necessarily exclusively there. But there is parts of the phenomena may interact exclusively, but yeah, some of the phenomena as well. So we still have the reasonable chance, but I do think it'll be a game changer when we can eventually get this camera upgraded there. And history has been manipulated, and the change to stop us knowing the truth. Manipulation, I am 100% on board with that as well. And Kate there, and sometimes we need someone to say "oi," and that's clearly something I really know. But Kate, 100%. 100% we do it. I had this experience today with Leanne, right? I went on a bit of a mental rabbit hole, right? It wasn't a good day for me in the old headspace. And I came in and I was hyper focusing on this particular problem. And I've been working very hard to not do that, actually. And I couldn't see it at the time. And Leanne points it out to me and says, look, I know that thing seems very, very important, and what you think it is there, you need to be paying attention to it. But I think actually the problem is how you're focusing on it. And I didn't want to hear that at the time. My brain was telling me there's a bear in the room and I need to focus on it there. But how much I didn't want to listen, she was right. And I needed to get out of it to get above the problem to actually have a chance at solving it anyway. And I think the same is true with this. That is some part of that. We're all human, and we are only going to be able to interpret the phenomena to the best of our individual abilities. And we've all had different life experiences. We've all had different educational levels, for what good that's worth. But we've all learned different things on the journey of life and not there. And we've also, our ability to problem solve is different for everybody. You know, we're not equal across the board. We have different skill sets in different areas, don't we? So we're all trying to make our best understanding of the phenomena, and culturally we do the same over generations. You know, as I said before, you know, those religious interpretations of the phenomena, the folkloric interpretations, you know, our very mechanistic modern day interpretations of it there as well. I think we have to as much as possible, come away from our confidence and our ego of getting it right and just go, look, we're all trying our best to solve this, and kind of be open. As long as somebody's coming in genuinely with the attitude of, you know, look, let's try and get to the bottom, and I think of this, and I think this might be individually incorrect, then I think that's a great way for us all to learn there. Very well put, Kate, there. And have you seen the moon, DJ? Sadly, I've seen the brightness from the moon, but it is hiding behind a cloud forest, the trees at the end of my garden, sadly. So we get all of the polluted night vision in the sky, but none of the beauty of the moon tonight there. And Frog, I think it's better to leave them doing their thing. What do we thought, the UFOs or the skeptics? Then Jeremy, we should be scanning all light waves, and it's easy to get out of light vision. We should be all light waves. Same, it's true for sound as well, the different frequency levels there, but also, you know, the magnetic fields as well, checking for that. That's another thing that, you know, magnetic anomalies associated with UFO craft. You know, a full spectrum of sensor suite is what we need, but we need multiple of them. You know, that second confirmation, because no matter what we catch on one camera, on one sensor, you need that second one scientifically to prove that it isn't an error with that particular unit or something special there. So very, very much so. But sadly, those things, it takes us a while. There, DJ as well, thank you for the gifts, and Leanne as well there. And Lonely as well, I feel aliens could be there, but it's the laws of physics that stops that belief there, i.e. the distance and speed. And I think they are very, very good questions. Like, we don't know for sure that it is possible to traverse the distances.
Zoom
like,
mode activated.
In theory, you know, if you could have like a generational ship there, you know, we could, you know, send generations off that live and die on a spaceship, eventually get to somewhere. But with our chemical rockets at the minute, it's going to take a very, very long time. This is a big issue. TikTok, go away. It's a you issue, not a me. Sorry, guys. There, it would take us a very long time to get to the phenomena, to get to a different system there. But there are other clues. I mean, first of all, the physics isn't a fixed one at the minute. There are still so many anomalies around it. It's our best interpretation of what's going on, but it's by no means like a complete book. So I still think there's lots of possibility for just unknowns there. But even within the knowns, like, you know, you've got the Alcubierre warp drive, which is, you know, how to build a warp drive without breaking physics. So warp drives could be possible. And also, we seem to be potentially seeing that. Instead, some other scientists recently plotted what the effects of that warp drive would be, the gravitational lensing and the red and blue of the light, the red shifting of the light and stuff like that. And it looks like, in some images of the phenomena, videos too, that is what's going on. So there's little things like that. It's not a slam dunk, but it kind of makes it more plausible. It's definitely like a degrees of percentage, isn't it? There's a very good answer there. And Frog there, once they show themselves that there's no way back for humans. Well, you know what? Like, I think they've shown themselves to various people for over the years. You know, it's just that consensus that we haven't got over the line there. DJ and Leanne, thank you for the gifts there. Appreciate that. All goes back in the stream, hopefully getting us closer to the infrared. Set up there as well. But once we, our definite culture, you know, once it is past that point, but whatever reality is, we do need to, I think, get used to that reality there. And Richie, what camera do you use? So it's a Sony A7, very old one. On a budget there. It's all about the lens though, which I can never remember what lens it is there, but you need to let in a lot of light there. Now, science is centuries and millennia behind. If another civilization has been out there longer, or especially if we take the time element in this, because if you are building a warp drive, in fact, if you're building a ship, regardless of propulsion, that goes fast enough, you're also building a time machine there. So you take that into account. The time involved, there could have been plenty of time for science to advance and to develop and to be far further ahead from us. You know, what is the chances that we are anywhere close to having the full range of knowledge or the reality of that? You know, I think we're still the same. Some scientists did say this the other day. It's like, we're probably as far away as a caterpillar is to understanding quantum physics than, you know, than where humanity is to what reality of the world is. You know, it's just that we don't know what we don't know there. And Vamidu there as well. Why do humans expect the worst intentions from other entities or species there? And wait and let's see. I think you're very, very right here. Like, we can't assume. We should be cautious. But this thing, we shouldn't assume the other way either. It is within our nature. You know, that is, again, an evolutionary pressure. You know, we are not aggressive for the fun of it. We're a product of our environment. We've had to compete with ourselves and other species for a very long time, and that behavior is there for a reason. It takes a long time to overwrite that. But that default, it could well be the case that there could be aggression, but also it's not guaranteed. Maybe the very nature of interstellar travel makes sure a species to get to that point has to kind of be far more advanced from that. I don't think so, though. I always think there's a place for violence, Edgar. You can quote me for that. In the sense of that, I think it's just an emergent property of existing. It's not nice, but when two people have two different experiences and they're in the same space, that's gonna create friction. It's gonna create heat. It's physics, ultimately, at the end of the day. And psychologists can't explain why I have premonitions there and a dual vision, and we will never understand. I mean, maybe we never will. Maybe it is beyond our comprehension there. Maybe we literally don't have the processing power to understand all of those things. But I think we should always try there. Dimensional travel, I mean, it could be possible. But it depends on the nature of it there, because we tend to, don't we, perceive dimensions as little as another place, but they're not. It's the same place, but a different way of interacting with it. But they're, in theory, would have to then stop being in the dimensions that we are now to then exclusively travel for another one. But the dimensional angle is, we are just scratching the surface of the possibilities of it there. Like, we just don't know what there could be out there, and this is a wild activity for them. It could be. And Lonely there, also Voyager 1 and 2 still can still send signals to Earth there. Why don't the UFOs send signals to the Deep Space Network? Should pick up. Well, Lonely, a brilliant one there. I'm very glad you asked that one, because we have lots of anomalous signals, like lots and lots of anomalous signals. Now, Voyager is actually not that far away to be sending the signal, and it takes a big dish to receive it. But we can pick that one up, but it's not actually that far away. But these distances are so vast, so those signals are going to be very, very faint. But when you look into it, there are a hell of a lot of anomalous radio signals. The issue, when science says we haven't detected an alien radio signal, what they mean is we haven't confirmed that it is an alien radio signal. There are still many radio signals out there that they can't disprove as alien or prove to be like electronic interference or satellites and stuff. And there's a big bias within the radio SETI community in the scientific side, that they will go, if we can't get that second detection, which understandably science needs to confirm there's life from a second dish to confirm it's coming from that source, then they go, well, it's probably electronic interference then. And you go, why is it probably electronic interference? Sure, yeah, you couldn't get the second detection, but there's plenty of reasons for that as well. It just has to stay in that category. I still think it's a product of our technology, or a lack of our technology. That means that we can't get that confirmation, because there's still plenty of anomalies out there. We just can't get that second point. And I love this one with the radio SETI, particularly because you need that second dish. You need somebody else to point their dish at that star and go, are we getting this strange signal too? To say, that there isn't anything, like a satellite passing in front of the dish that detects it, to confirm that, it's not that sort of error or electronic interference that's on that one dish. So you need the two. But what they do is, how they do SETI mostly at the minute, is they get everybody else's second-hand telescope data. They'll spend 20 years going through that data because they're underfunded, and they'll go, oh my God, look, 25 years ago, we had this really cool technological signal looking like it's coming from that close by star. All right, let's go point our dish back there to see if it's still making that signal. And then they point their dish back there another 5 years later, and they go, oh, we can't detect it. Yeah, it's been 30 years. That's the same as me pressing somebody at my door and then waiting till the next day to answer it and go, that's rude, nobody's here. That's the same thing with what science is doing, especially as a recent paper came out as a study, and they said, look, ET life sending these signals, and again, remember, we're most likely to detect a hello message out there. It's not likely to be their radio communications. They're probably far advanced beyond radio as a direct themselves communication technology. Maybe their radar, if they're still using it, but again, that is just, it's not high powered enough to transfer the distances and still be heard. You have to purposely put in a hell of a lot of energy into this signal there. And why would you do that? Well, you'd go, hello, is anybody else out there? That's why we did it once as a species. But also, the main thing of this paper was that actually a civilization is only going to put the resources, the time and the energy into doing that, sending that signal, rather than into science, into energy for their hospitals or whatever it may be, agriculture, at the end of their life. If they think we've not gotten long left, guys. You know, either somebody's invaded us or our star's about to go supernova and we can't get off the planet. That is when a civilization is most likely to send a message. Maybe it's help, maybe it's goodbye, maybe they're uploading their internet, their knowledge base to the internet, hoping somebody will pick it up and go. But by definition, we're most likely to hear those messages, but they're also the ones that are going to be the shortest. They're going to be likely to be very individual. And if you wait 30 years, the invasion's happened. You know, their star has probably gone supernova and all that sort of stuff. So I think science, you know, shoots itself in the foot. It's that meme, isn't it? You know, where they're riding the bike, they put the stick themselves in their front tyre, they fall off the bike, and then the line is, you know, blame somebody else for it. You know, it's basically that. And Leanne coming in with the shares there. Brad coming in with the gifts as well. Thank you, guys. Crummy as well there. And Deb Start, do appreciate that as well. GWAC too. Thank you for those. I said all the gift subs, patrons, things, members, guys, it all goes back into the stream. They help us improve what we do. If you are just joining us tonight, guys, we're doing a live UAP, a UFO, a Skywatch. We're going to live from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country, just down the road from Stonehenge here. Do say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. It take me a minute to get to your messages. I'm across 2 chats. Excuse me, but I do want to read what you've got to say. Ask any questions, no silly questions, but also give us a follow or a sub, whatever it is, wherever you are there, because we do this every night and the sky's only going to get clearer. This is probably about a 5 out of 10 for clarity tonight. We're, you know, it's not as good as it normally is, but it doesn't mean we're not seeing activity. It's still very, very active up there, so do help us spot the strange and anomalous and join our little Skywatcher community there. Where did I get to in the TikTok chat here? I had a very good question, didn't we? Where was it? There. I'm just going to start here. So Jeffrey is faffing with your equipment there because he's telling you to chill and come back with a clear head. Okay, that is exactly what I need to do. That is exactly what I do need to do. I felt that one earlier, after we had the technical glitches earlier, but I am also compelled when it's a semi-clear night. I do need to learn that one, I think. Go and have a breather. So thank you, Jeffrey. I think I might need the reminder there. And our children are our future, but they spend 6 to 10 years a day with their head in their phones. And it is a very, very dangerous thing to do. But the flip of it is these things aren't as black and white. Like, there's obvious downsides to doing that, like obvious downsides. But this is the thing. If they don't, and their peers are, then they're ousted from the group. They won't know the latest shows that they watch. They won't play the latest games and be able to participate. But also they won't have the same depth of skills at using electronic devices and things like that. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't as a parent these days. And Kate coming in with the shares. And Lonely there. What about the re-entry into Earth? Surely we would see the UFOs ripping through the atmosphere. Brilliant question. Brilliant question. So it depends, doesn't it? Like, yes, if they're more conventional, if they're using the warp drive, they're building a bubble of space and time around them, at which point they're not interacting with our atmosphere at all. And again, that is plausible. We don't know how they get the energy for it, but it is theoretically plausible. So that could be a way. But also, we don't have a good coverage of our atmosphere. We do not know everything that comes in and out of our orbit. Like last year, 2 interesting points to this. Like, we think we've got eyes absolutely everywhere, but we really, really don't. Just like when old MH370, that plane went missing. They're like, oh, don't you guys have radar? Yeah, we've got radar kind of around the countries, but not over the globe. And the same's true with knowing what's going on in our atmosphere and also in our local space. We had that, was it a comet or a meteorite that came, big bastard, came in between the Earth and the Moon. So very, very close. It went, whoosh, and NASA went, oh, shit, didn't see that one. You know, and that was kind of a big one you want to see. So we don't know a lot of what's going on in our local solar system at all. But also, coming into our atmosphere, there was that Venera probe there, one of the Russian Venus probes that was launched, you know, in the 70s or 80s, had an issue getting into its secondary orbit there, so never got to Venus. It was just kind of off on a weird orbit, a big issue. And actually, last year, people were like, oh, wait a minute, what's this strange thing that's coming towards Earth? Turns out it was this Mars-Venus probe. And very exciting, because those things are built like a tank. Venus's surface is like hell. It's incredibly high pressure, high heat and temperature. They don't last long on the surface. Those things are built like a tank, and they're like, might be good to know where that thing's going to re-enter, because that ain't going to break up on re-entry. That's going to fucking survive and come in like a big old bomb. But it did. It re-entered. We don't know where. We have no idea. Probably in the ocean, because nobody noticed it. But we don't know. We don't have a good idea. These things do come and go. Very easy there. Evening G-Wack there and Brad there. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you, Brad, for the reminder there. Do appreciate it all there. And Kate coming in with the shares as well. And Gio, you've not seen Mars Attacks? I still haven't. It is on my list, but it's not on one of the free ones there. And X-Crummy there, how are you doing there? And that's crazy there. They've come from every direction. All that. They really do. There are so many different orbits around. Remember, they're all falling to Earth in a big circle. You know, it's like do you remember those penny machines that used to get like in McDonald's or Toys R Us there? You'd put the clear plastic dome, put the 2p in or your penny, and it would roll around like that. That's an orbit. That's what that's doing. Gravity is pulling it in a whirl. That's what these things are doing. But because there's no friction, because no atmosphere, very, very little up there, they're not slowing down as much. They're not getting lower. But as soon as they do, they get ever so slightly and they hit the atmosphere, and then they really do start to come in. It slows them down. They drop up there. And they do lose a lot of satellites there. You're back, Agent X. Lonely, though. I appreciate it being nice and explained. But Lonely, and you know what, Lonely, I can be very wrong. Definitely very, very wrong. I'm just passionate, enthusiastic, but I appreciate you coming in as well, and also just having a chat with us as well. So again, if you've got any counterpoints, ask away, or tell us. We love to mix these things up, and I wish everybody, because this is the thing. Ultimately, who is right and who's wrong? We're all human there, but together, hopefully, we're gonna piece this puzzle together there. So I appreciate you there, Lonely, and X there. Tiki Toki keeps removing your message. Oh, God. Have you offended it there? 140,000 starseeds are waiting to transition the survivors. And I'm not on the YouTube tonight there, but answer your questions over there as well. Well done, Agent X, doing multi-platforms. A2 keeps slowing down, left to right. Oh, A2. I'm so far behind there, G-Wack. Right, that's over there. I've got to see if I can keep an eye on that one, for that one there. Don't see the UAPs unless they are in standard physics form. Interesting angle that, maybe they are not within our realm of perception. Maybe they choose to come into that realm, and therefore that's when we see them sometimes, why it's inconsistent there as well. And even Joe Rogan thinks the Malaysian plane was teleported. See, that's a harder sell for me, but not because I have evidence to the contrary, but because the steps involved. There's so many things you've got to go. That we've definitely got that technology, and they can pull it all off, and that definitely happened. There's so many steps that, I did catch Aston Forbes that does that. I've caught some of his stuff, and look, he doesn't sound crazy, but I still need the foundations. I need to do teleportation 101 before I kind of understand and believe. But we're all like that in our different ways and our different areas. We're there 4 minutes ago at 23:40 there. Oh, thank you there, G-Back. Right, see if I can clip that, and hopefully I'll check that one out later there. And if you go back, I will definitely try it. Thank you, G-Back. Right, let me switch over to the tubes now. You guys have been patiently waiting. See where we got to in your chat there. We got to Viking, didn't we, there? And Brad as well. There. See, Willow, I saw a solid metal sphere in my dining room there, and it was for a few seconds, but it still has left a message there, and I have no idea what it was there, and I'm wondering, was it a probe? Well, I would assume some sort of probe. People do talk about these spheres, don't they, quite commonly, and what did our first satellite look like? Sputnik. It was a big metal sphere, had a couple of legs on it, but a sphere is an interesting object for these sort of things there. People talk about plasma orbs and balls in their insides as well. And what's the... Oh, no, I did that one there. And good evening, Nocturnal there, JC. No, I've done that one. Where are we? And Nocturnal, new here from Canada. Sorry it's taking me so long to get your message there. Welcome aboard there. Now, fantastic country, Canada. Have you seen anything strange in the skies over there? And where's Ashton in... is that Makerfield there? Love it. And Nocturnal there, are you familiar with John Hanson's work? John Hanson. That's not no, is it Chris? No, that's Chris Hansen. That's a very different show. John Hansen rings a bell. Probably. What sort of bit was it? It might trigger the memory there if you're still in Nocturnal. I want to hear about that one there. And American people knew of the Sky people. Native American people. Yeah, lots of cultures talk about this. Now, sometimes there is, like a conceptual thing that civilized cultures can converge on a similar idea to explain a similar sort of problem or situation. But I do think a lot of these things, there is fire to the smoke. There is something going on, especially when a lot of them are a little bit more specific. It's definitely out of the realms of just fully conceptual there. Oh, God, where do we get to in the chat? It just jumped ahead at me. Sorry, tubers. It's taking me a second. I never get bored of looking at a clear night sky. Willow, somebody said that last night. Does it get bored seeing more all the stars? No, it is always stunning there. JC, dinos to me are proof we are not alone there. My mofos are things of nightmares, alongside all of the other historical creatures now dead there. If they exist, then E.T. defo has a play on us somewhere. You know what? I could believe it as well there. I just think the variety, like life started on Earth far sooner than they expected, almost as soon as it possibly could there. So it didn't seem to be the random roll of the dice that we thought it was. It does seem to be absolutely abundant there. And where are we there? Oh, what's that one there? Lee, there at 10:23 there was something in the middle of the screen that flew above the 2 there, and it suddenly stopped and is still there. What, Lee, which square was that in? At 10:23, so where are we? That's can't be. Oh, you must be an hour behind us on that one. Did anybody else see that one? I didn't see that one come in. Interesting one on there. Hello, darling. Hi.
How much am I snoring?
Quite a lot.
Should I go?
No, it's a weekend.
Okay.
I permit you. There. And Scooby, if they ever found human bones mixed with the dinosaur bones, do you think they would let it be known? So, very interesting one here. This touches on something I found out the other day, is that they actually have a lot of bones, and how they date them
Zoom mode activated.
is based on when we currently think humanity was around, which is an ever-changing number there. They actually can only really say which species a bone is for, not date, sorry, but allocate to a species. Is very specific bones, like fingers, toes, teeth, skull, things like that, which obviously are not going to be all the bones. If they get a hip bone, if they get a femur, a leg bone, and it's really, really old, they go, oh, well, we don't know humans were around back then, so we'll assume it was something pre-human. But they're not, the confidence level in those things are not actually very, very, they're not got a lot of confidence in those equations there. Oh, Ayup, they need to drop out there. Oh, Shatter, I'll see you tomorrow there, Ayup. But yeah, so a lot of it is just based on, well, we haven't got another human, so we'll assume this is a pre-human then. But humanity could go back a lot longer. In fact, there are some very interesting fossilized footprints, which they know when that fossil was formed, when that mud was soft, about 1 million years ago. And there's footprints in it. And they go, well, why couldn't that be a pre-human version of a foot? Well, because our feet, that is what distinguishes modern humanity, is our unique shape of our feet there from all the other hominids. So that is raising a lot of questions there. And they hid the giant human bones right now. Exactly, I've heard that one. It's a very interesting angle in the Americas there. But all over there are signs of these things there. And the Book of Enoch spoke about giants for sure. It did, and also lots of other texts as well have mentioned those things. And Scooby, what are ever? They would never let that truth out, and it was true. I think this is the thing. They would not try, and to various degrees, they can have success, but it's not fully in control of the people in the shadowy rooms around the tables. We like to think that actually a lot of the time those decisions are made there, and yeah, they're making decisions, but whether those decisions stick, it's actually down to just culture in general. Like, humanity is quite predictable, and Scooby-Doo there, and not many read the Book of Enoch, and so it's on my list there, except by the church there, and that be them who change the scripture and the gospel to suit the masses there, and it'll take, well, they don't want you to read any day of the week. I mean, people are always trying to manipulate and interpret these things, but over time these things correct. These things, over the longest time, these things will eventually correct. Only they have the book in their books there. Oh, the Ethiopians, yes, it's true. But isn't the old the Book of Enoch, isn't it like actually many books or something? I heard there. I need to read it there. Nathan as well, how are you doing there? And a very small group of people keep to themselves. We should let's have a look there. Spielberg, it would make a good movie there. You guys having a chat there? Where did we get to in the... What did you think of the metal spheres that appeared at Manchester Airport? Well, I think airports are a very interesting place for the phenomena, mainly because that is one of the most powerful signals that we are sending out to space. So, I mean, the spheres, which would imagine be a more local part of a sphere network, a lot of people say, that are already here on Earth, I'm not some, it makes sense that they're going to be interested in airports there, because again, like, the most powerful signals that we send out as humanity are radar, particularly airport radar. There's those lighthouses, those beams of radar that are being shone out into space. If another civilization goes, whoa, we picked something up, and they follow it to its trace, they're going to literally end up at an airport most of the time for that. So it makes sense why there's going to be an interest there. Just saw a black shape fly across the screen. Oh, we might have been a bird. Sometimes we do get birds across the screen, but I didn't see it. I spend my time in the chat unless it's a really big one, but I do we do watch through the recordings there for any of those good ones there. And Jack and the Beanstalk there depicts giants in another dimension. It could well be. And you think of like the language, the tools that they had to describe the phenomena. I mean, we give religion a hard time for trying to convey information, don't we, for these narratives and things maybe not being very specific. But if you think of like, the educational level, the experience level of people as well, because this is the thing, if you've not had a lot of variation in your life, you've not got a wide understanding of things that can possibly happen. There's not a lot of things you can reference to give examples to. So religion had to be quite simple. And a lot of these stories are a great way to transfer information. They're not necessarily precise, but they do transfer the core of these things. So what is it? We've got to look. What could they be trying to say here through the tools that they had on the time? In the same way that a cave painting is not going to be a 3D model, the same way, story is not going to be the same way as an exact like scientific document telling you the molecular structure of whatever the phenomena is. But that ain't going to survive the test of time, whereas a cave painting probably can. There. Where do we get to on the TikTok side of things? Where did we get to? Let's have a look. Sorry, guys. A2 keeps slowing down left to right. I need to check that one. I was looking at it, but I think I've got distracted there. Change angle to anyone else. So GWAC, because somebody on the tube spotted that as well. I'm definitely going to check that one out for the timestamp. Yeah, I'm looking in the right spot. I don't see any UAPs in a state physical form there. Yeah, no, I did that one there. The Malaysian plane was transporting quantum chip scientists. I heard about the site. It does make you think there is something sus there as well. 4 minutes ago. Oh no, I did that one there. That one there. I've just gone and rewound the tube there. I did. Thank you, Kate, for that. We used to have a replay function on this, but because of TikTok, we can't have it now, which is frustrating. And only that. I've heard people say UFOs are shiny and clean, but re-entry usually leaves burn marks on craft. So you're very right. It does there. So yeah, the reports, if they're accurate, they do. Yeah, they do quite often say that they are. But if they're using a warp drive technology, then they're not interacting with our atmosphere. They're literally creating, and again, it's theoretically possible. Scientists, can do it without breaking physics there, but you just need a lot of energy, which we don't have, so it's technically theoretical. But you use essentially gravity to pull the universe in. You're creating a little bubble around, and that's how they can go faster than light, because the universe is moving, not the craft itself technically, but they're in that bubble, so it's their own atmosphere. It's how they can potentially travel in the oceans at those speeds. There's no friction, so there's no friction of their re-entry, and therefore no heat and no burning there. But it's also how they could potentially do those G-forces, if that is correct. But yeah, no, if they weren't using that, then yeah, they would be subject to the physics of it there, and the re-entry and the burns. I've got people to add me. I speak to the natives weekly. I can add them. Oh, get me to add the people that are. I mean, it'd be very interesting to hear the accounts there. I've still got to figure out the best way of doing it, though. And Techno Viking there, the Sami people there, the indigenous in Norway, also speak about chariots in the sky. So, is this just an interpretation of the natural phenomena, or are people experiencing this thing? Because Techno, that's brilliant. I hadn't heard of those ones. And they all seem to be talking about the same sort of thing. It's very, very interesting. They're also learning native languages. Oh my God, I have not time for that one. But a native and Celt driven. I'll keep going. And Lonely there. What about the grime from their planet there? Surely their craft would be covered in dirt and contaminants there. Well, I mean, in the same way you'd imagine if it's here on our surface that it would as well. I mean, I don't know. we clean our craft, maybe they clean that. Maybe there's an alien car wash with it through there. But this is the thing, like, even with our planet, like, if they're going through the air, you know, an aircraft, you know, hits bugs, all that sort of stuff, you know, needs to be cleaned. But, you know, if it is that warp drive creating that bubble, then yeah, they wouldn't have that issue, would it? There, you know, I've not really thought about it too much on that one though. It's a good one. And Techno, there in Siberia, they are working on cloning mammoths from a tusk with some DNA. We are getting so close to a very strange time, aren't we? Now, potentially having that back. Wouldn't that be cool? But also, what about the dangers of it there? And Hillary's got them. Yeah, Hillary. All night, GWAC. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll catch you later on there. Well, definitely, guys, check out Asian X if you're interested in that sort of stuff there. Because I know you've mentioned having a few people on to have those chats before. You know what, Asian X? You're going to need to tell me in advance, and I can try and actually join one on time. Because you send me them, and I always check my messages like the next day or so. And I'll go, oh, I missed it. Oh, I missed it. So let me know in advance, and I can join and hang out there. That's the thing. And whistleblowers. Yeah. Okay, oh, mate. There, Kevin. Fire needs oxygen to burn there. Maybe the sun also needs oxygen to burn. Maybe. I mean, I've heard some interesting things. Look, the mainstream understanding of the sun is that it's basically a fusion reaction. The sheer, because, like, basically mass attracts other mass, and then, you know, it pulls more in, and the more mass then attracts more mass, more gravity. And when you get certain sizes, in the same way that, you know, we've got this gravity on Earth, now that's just actually, you know, there's not a lot of it, you know, the Earth is quite small, but it's not just size, it's density. Basically mass is, you know, how much is in the space. You know, the sun, under its sheer weight of how vast it is, how massive it is, there, the sheer weight of that just, you know, basically crushes the gas, and that creates a fusion reaction, and it is that fusion reaction burning away. But other people have had different opinions on that. They have, you know, basically said, look, you know, every other place, gas needs to be in a container for it to be pressurized there. So why is that not true for the sun? And I mean, those questions are beyond me, but there are interesting angles, so maybe there's something more going on. I mean, look, that our understanding of actually how things work is ever changing. How accurate it is the question, rather than is it right or wrong. You know, are we 90%? Very unlikely. Are we 10%? Probably closer, maybe less than that. And Mark there, thank you for the gifts, appreciate that. All goes back in there. Trying to active, always keeping busy. Do try to not remote view. To remote out active. Don't worry there, X there. And where are we there? And Brad, the thing is, with statues and cave paintings, we have to believe what scientists say it is. Well, see, this is the thing. And normally, you know, you're not far wrong. Like, you know, like, look, they're the groups of people that spend all of their time on that particular thing, right? So coming from nothing, you know, you might want to share that. You know, expertise does have value, but it also has no awareness outside of its space. So a lot of the time it's contextual, and therefore, you know, you need those other inputs and things, and that's where science fails. Doesn't have a good contextual understanding of these things. So this is another example, guys. As far as we can tell, this one is just a steady man-made satellite there, just acting as satellites do, until it does something strange. So it shoots off at speed there, stops dead, changes course, changes trajectory there, something like that. Until we see that change, then we can only assume it's a man-made satellite. But keep your eyes on it there. It's getting brighter as it's getting to the center. Now that is very, very bright. I wonder if that's going to dim. Yeah. If that brightens a second time, that's very interesting, because you can get it if a satellite is on a particular orbit and it reaches that perfect pinnacle to reflect the sun's light the maximum and then fades away out of it there. Oh, there's another bright one coming in, but it is fading out there. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, see, this one's fading out a little bit as well there. Oh, really getting too zoomed in on that one. Yes, keep your eyes spotting on all of those. Right, where did we get to? And Techno, I don't trust Saturn. I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, look at all those moons. But it's also Saturn. If you look, we see the side angle, the beautiful side, all the stripes and the rings. But if you look, like I think it's top down, I think it's the top of Saturn, might be the bottom. But if you look, it's a perfect hexagon, perfect hexagon on the top there. All those straight edges. Very interesting how it forms straight edges there. Hey, Blue Nose, how are you doing, Captain? Good to see ya. Are you excited for the weekend, the bank holiday weekend? No worries, X. I don't trust ants. And the magic money printing there, Kate. Or ant-men. Or men ants. Back over to the tubes. Where did we go? Where did we get to with your wonderful, wonderful comments there? We got to there, didn't we? So high giant. No, yeah, done that one. Leanne coming in with the gifts, thank you. Book of Enoch. Oh, happy Beltane there, Nathan. No, got to that one there. And Viking, oh, it's removed your message, Viking. Now I have to try that one again so we can read that. And don't expect many to remember the VTV program. Actually, a few in our community have there. I remember the remake of it. Bits of it anyway. I remember the gist there. That's how it will be when they eventually arrive. It's a possibility. It really is a possibility. I mean, we look at our culture, which is the one point that we have to go on, and you know it could very well be the case. But there are instances even within humanity where we just kind of if we're close enough, if there's a threat, you know, if they want the resources that we want, then there is that friction, and that then one will win out. But like those uncontacted tribes, we kind of just leave them to it, basically, you know, because they ain't interfering with us, we ain't interfering with them. In fact, sometimes we protect them. And Blue Nose, thank you for that very, very kind gift there. Do appreciate you there. And it all goes back into the stream, help us improve what we do. But it is a very strong possibility. We definitely shouldn't assume benevolence. And what do you think of the metal spheres that appeared in... Oh, no, I did that one. It reorders it when I go back through the chat. We spoke earlier about how the Earth works and eats itself there over millions of years. The same happens with scripture, where the original words change and lose. That is very, very true. You know, I mean, we can't call it Chinese whispers, isn't it there? But, you know, the same message passed down over time and time. You know, it distorts, it changes there, and the same thing happens in written text as well. But we see this in gene replication, don't we? Our genes as well. That's why we have sexual reproduction, so each time you can remix up your genes and avoid errors. But if you just exclusively copy genes from one to the next one, slight errors become big errors. Same happens in information in general, you know, that is shared. So very good one there. Scooby, cold space keeps the fusion reaction contained like water on Earth. Does it really? That's a very good, you know, it makes sense to me. But then again, I'm not very, very big brained. And what the heck was that? And huge there, Hugo there. So as far as I can tell, probably just a man-made satellite there. But keep your eyes. Every now and again, they do something strange. And that is what we're on the lookout for tonight there. How are you doing there, Rodney? Good to see you there. Sorry, it's taking me so long to get to your messages down the bottom here on the TikTok, on the tube, sorry. I'm bouncing between chats, so it does take me a while to bounce from A to B. But do say hello. If you're new here, do say hello. Let us know where you're all watching from tonight. But also keep your eyes on the screen there for any anomalous movement from those objects there. How late are we going on tonight there? It is a Friday, but I should probably get some sleep very soon. So I'll tell you, I'm probably going to wind up very, very shortly. I'm just going to read my way through the TikTok chat. I'm going to catch up here and see where we get to. There we go. Kate talking about Ant-Man. You just get into that. And where are we there? And X, come there. Have you seen much movement tonight? It's not been a great one tonight. I've got to admit, guys. A bit disappointed. I was hoping that the moon was a bit lower and coming in a bit later. I thought it would be less of a problem. But no, it's still quite washed out tonight, so it hasn't been the best one. So you haven't missed much there. But sometimes that happens. Most of the time we do get a sighting. We do get something, or at least one thing anomalous to stream. But, yeah, sometimes we do get a duff run. But, again, when we get it therefore is all the sweeter. But, yeah, I'm sure over the next couple of days there. And PM there, what's the strangest thing you've ever captured? Oh, good question. It's a toss-up. We saw this big, bright orange ball once, and trying to explain it, again, we're often lost for words to describe what we're seeing and really convey the strangeness, the anomalous nature of these things. But it came through, it was big and it was bright, and it was faster than a satellite, but much slower than a shooting star. It also didn't have the tail like a shooting star there, but it was a nice consistent orange. There was no nucleus, there was no glow, it was just this bright orange ball in of itself, but it was far bigger than any of the satellites that we see. So it kind of fell in between the two, but, you know, definitely wasn't either, because it, you know, it couldn't be with that behaviour. And it come in on the corner of the screen, went pew. No idea what the hell that is. But again, if that warp drive is being used, they do theorise. Excuse me, they do theorise that it would potentially ionise a layer of plasma on the outside of the craft, which to us would look glowing red and orange. So maybe that is indeed what we saw on that one there. Oh, what's deleted now, Agent X? And there. A bit difficult, a little bit. And strangest thing I have seen on here is Alan. I mean, Alan says he's not strange. He's a simple creature. He likes gifts and a probing. That's his ideas of a good time. We have seen other things. We saw the triangular formation. We saw two green orbs chasing each other once there. But we tend to kind of see, well, we see a lot of these mid-range anomalies there go. It's not 100% conclusively not a man-made satellite, but it is acting very weird, especially compared to all of the others. We see some anomalous flashing and calibration, stuff like that. Oh, that we might saw about 30 shooting stars and 12 anomalies. That night was pretty cool. I remember that one. That was a good run. That was a good run there. Oh, Willow, thank you. That's very, very kind of you to say over there. But yes, I am going to wind it up for us here tonight there. I'm going to be good tonight, and I'm going to save the energy, and hopefully we're going to have a nice run. What's the weather looking like? Of good sky. Oh, my God. English weather today. Right. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong town. Hold on. Hopefully it's a bit better for us down here. So remember, we do the Skywatches, guys, when it's clear, or we expect it to be clear, it's not raining, and we do an alien radio signal hunt on those other nights there. Sometimes we mix it up with a bit of gaming, but tomorrow night, rain, so we will either be doing a signal hunt, maybe we'll mix it up with some gaming tomorrow. Sunday, broken cloud, light rain, so maybe we'll risk it with the camera for Skywatch on Sunday. Oh, Monday's rain, Tuesday, okay, we're going for it. We had a good run of nice clear skies. Broken cloud on Thursday, so maybe we'll get one in that rain Friday. Hopefully the weather's going to change, and we can have some more sky runs. But if not, we'll be doing the alien radio signal hunt, guys. So hopefully we'll catch you all for that one. But at least by the time that rain ends, the moon will have sodded off, and we'll have a nice, clear, colourful sky back again there. Yeah, it is looking like rain all weekend, sadly, on that one. And up for some gaming, Blue Nerds. Oh, there we go. You've settled it now. I'll see if Pete's about for the pirate game. But there is that new alien game, Roadside Research. There could be one there. You're playing Sea of Thieves this weekend. Kate, you're going to be up to scratch for it. We'll put our crew together. You know what? Now it's later on. My words. Lighter. We can't go until later. Leanne was suggesting maybe I could use that time to go to the gym. To the gym. Subtle hint from her. But maybe actually we could use that time to play Sea of Thieves before the main line there, and we'll get really good, and we can take on Pete, make him cry, I reckon there, Kate. Night there, Brad. Night, everybody there. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. As always, appreciate all your support, whether it is watching quietly in the background or whether it's joining our Patreon, whatever it may be, chatting to us, sharing the knowledge. I do love you all, and yeah, we'll see you for something tomorrow at night there, but it is looking like it's going to be a rainy run, so make sure you are subscribed or following or whatever it is, and you're on the Discord. Then that way you kind of get the heads up of what the stream's going to be. So if the radio signal or the gaming ain't your sort of thing, you'll get those notifications the next time it says Skywatch there. So you want to be on that, you don't want to miss it out. I said as soon as that moon goes, which will be the time that the weather clears up, it's going to be a beautiful night sky. Nothing like this. This is a 5 out of 10. You've got to see it on a 10 there, guys. Thank you, Scooby, there over there as well. And good night there, Brad, as well. Oh, what was that dress-up pirate stream you're doing there? So that was playing Sea of Thieves there. So sometimes I get bored. We have to do something different. But most of the time it's Alien. Sometimes we do Kerbal, which is like, a space program one. We have to launch rockets into orbit and get the gravity right. And we launch you guys up there. That was a fun one. So one of those there. Lonely as well, thank you again for joining us there, and we'll catch you all later. Yeah, KSP, I love a bit of I'm crap at it, Lonely, but I do like it. We've sent some ridiculous rockets up there. And Blue Nose, good night there as well. Right, thank you guys. We'll catch you later. Get some rest. And yeah, see you tomorrow.